Okay, we are now live. And then I'd have to make sure my microphone is down a lot because I peak all the time.
You're like gently talking over here, and all of a sudden you're up here every time.
That's my issue. Is I basically sit there half the time going like, "Yes, okay," and for everyone else they hear like, "You sound way too loud." So, okay.
Unless it's me last time.
Right? Okay, so I think we're pretty much all good to go. Nope, we're not. So yes,
normal
we are live, so people can, how you guys doing?
Hi.
Yes, so we are just now getting the audio part done, and that's literally all I had to do for that. So now the actual audio podcast can now record, so.
I'm going to apologize now just for any of me bumping this microphone. I think I've done it 3 times.
As long as you're not basically sitting there like punching the microphone, I think we'll be all right.
I think I actually did that last time by accident.
I know you absolutely did that.
This wasn't an ASMR podcast, right? Just to clarify.
So we can talk about the ASMR if we really need to. How are you guys doing right now?
Okay, I'm gonna leave through this door now.
Well, I mean, like real talk. I actually did. I did ASMR for 8 months and whatnot. Just like all people wanted was like, we just want to hear you hum. Okay, and I would just sit there like for hours, just.
What? That's gonna be my
$5
new alerts on my stream. It's just
I'm just gonna apologize to your stream. It's like, I'm sorry for what Charlie's putting through. So yeah, how you guys doing? Like I said, we're pretty much now just sort of finalizing the last couple parts of the podcast, but it was like we're already super late, so let's actually just start the stream. It's like in true crack brain fashion, I'm late. There you guys go. But like I said, let me pull up this, and now I think I'm good to go. All right. And normal podcast etiquette are phones on silent?
My phone's
Yes.
off, so
my phone will probably die soon anyway. So, but
What is with you? I'm not.
I was watching TV last night. I fell asleep. Didn't plug in my phone. I woke up at 3:30 and I was like, "Oh shit! I need to be down there now."
my charger, I plugged it in and it was like ding, and then I guess it undinged at some point and it didn't actually charge all night. So
what I'm curious of is that you just went my charger, and now I'm sitting there. Is your charger hooked up to a steering wheel?
well,
You just
I have one in my car as well.
Maybe she has a charger and she just plugs it
Oh,
into
I'm
her
a
charger.
cop, by the way. I have a charger.
Black people in Utah don't fare well.
Oh no.
So yeah. I'm sorry, that actually caught me so off guard that I'm like, have I said
Didn't know
anything
that.
incriminating while I've been here?
Yeah, it's a lot you don't know about me. I'm a mini entrepreneur. Daylight as a cop.
Streamer, dog care, cop. This is a very interesting triple threat right there. There we go. So I figured might as well start the actual podcast itself.
Yeah.
Sound good over to you guys? Okay, so welcome to episode 152 of the Crack Brain Podcast. Going to do our best to be able to go and reference chat. So normally we have like a screen put up kind of like over more towards the middle over by the computer. Switched it out to a big screen TV that I can't interface well with the computer. Like it's huge. It does great things. It doesn't like the computer. So now I'll be on my phone pretty much the entire time. So and I'll put it over here so just in case, because I figure half of this is probably your. They've already started talking. I'm like, I don't recognize that person.
Aw.
I was gonna say it has exploded since the 5 minutes we've had this up.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks
Wow.
for coming over, my guys. I appreciate you. I see you in the chat. I see some of you for sure.
Right. There you go. So yes, today we have, well, as most of you all know, and then some of our listeners and whatnot, we have Charleemanderz, who was gracious enough to make the horrific drive down to where I live. I'm sorry for the rainstorm. I'm sorry for the traffic. I'm sorry for my dogs.
Oh, never apologize for the dogs. Dogs are fine. I never drive. I never get to use my car because I'm home all the time. So give me an excuse to get out of my house and experience what weather's like again. So it was good.
You mean you actually don't have to go out of the cave of solitude known as house? Because I want to know how that feels.
It was blinding.
I could actually feel that.
So, okay, Ray, I just saw your shoes and now I'm in love with your shoes.
Yeah,
They're
Oh, I
great.
love them. So I bought them for a casual. Oh my gosh, I just forgot her name.
braining.
No, not Raven. The other girl.
Would you say that
Starfire?
it's cracked?
Starfire. Yeah, it's for a
Cute.
casual starfire.
I really like them too.
Casual stir fryer?
Starfire. You need to listen better. Like, use
Okay,
your ears.
when voices are directed away from me, it gets hard to hear.
True.
Deaf bastard.
I was close. Stir fry, starve for dead.
You
Close.
got it all. One's a food, one's a fictional person. How are you at all close? I blame Maine. I blame Maine.
How would you do like a stir fry gajinka? How would you dress to be a stir fry? For like
Very interesting.
Oh my gosh. So that reminds me. I think it would be similar to like a Sharknado. I saw a Sharknado at Comic-Con.
Wait, you're a genius.
last year.
Yeah, I know exactly the one you're talking about. They had
That
like
is great.
cotton and like the toy sharks and wire. You're a genius. That's exactly how you would do a stir fry. It'd be in motion. All right, next cosplay coming up.
And now you're just basically going to do a bunch of noodle cosplays. Like, you did stir fry. Next time, yakisoba. I'm really looking forward to this.
Udon's gonna be kind of difficult. We need thicker noodles, but it's gonna be good. All
It's
right.
just
Chase
pool
just
noodles.
wrapped up a bunch of sheets and just ring them around yourself.
No, just use pool noodles. Call it good.
You're not
Oh
wrong.
my gosh. That reminds me of like a cosplay I tried to do when I was like 9 or 10. I was trying to be like a zombie werewolf.
Yes.
And I had the saddest costume. Like I had paper ears on a headband
Oh.
that I taped on, and I took like that, that gauze that you just wrap around wounds. I had that like everywhere, and I just like put like paint. It was really sad.
I
I
love
was
it.
just taking myself out to
So you were a zombie werewolf mummy.
That is the most confused monster I've ever heard in my life.
You would
I don't know
get
what I want to be.
you'd
So
get
as
all
a
the
werewolf-
candy if you came to my house and be like, "Oh, this is peak creativity. Here you
I
go.
just need some
You
bolts.
won."
God damn it, that's it.
So basically, it's a werewolf that died in a tomb, came back. Yeah, there you
Well,
go.
it was when I was like learning cosplay. I did better when I did like Misty and Link, but I didn't know what to do.
Look, I've had some horror stories. I remember one of my earlier cosplays in like, I think it was like I was in 6th grade. I tried doing a sea monkey, and it was one of those where it's like I was like, okay, I'm gonna get a wetsuit, and then I'm gonna go and get like, there was these stupid like plastic kind of glove things and these and this face mask type actual goggles and whatnot. I thought I looked amazing until I got to the tail, and I just grabbed a bunch of construction paper and then just like made this like floppy tail and whatnot. I'm like, I look like a badass, and then I took it to school and everyone's like, what the hell? So yeah, I've been cosplaying for a long time.
I love it.
And
So-
then you look at me, and I have never cosplayed. So
we need to change that. We need to change.
okay. Being in Maine, there is no Comic-Con. There is no nothing.
Yeah, there's
There's no
nothing in there.
get-togethers of any sort. So
Well,
it's kind of hard to have the opportunity to do it.
Oh, I know where it is.
And I've only been out here for a little over 5 years, so between getting used to being here, getting money together, it's just been interesting. So.
oh yeah, it takes a while. I've only
Yeah.
been here for 3 years now
Mhm.
this month, so it took me a while to find just anybody who was
Yeah.
like similar to me.
Well, we do have a humongous nerd community here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in
I'm
Utah.
Oh, yeah.
We've got
surprised.
so many conventions, some specifically for video games, some specifically for anime, both comics. Like it's just, and it's like year round.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
So-
that and it's about to. There's two other cons that they haven't been publicly announced or anything like that, but they actually are starting to actually get most of their stuff going. One of them was supposed to happen actually kind of like this weekend, and then like a couple of months ago they wound up private messaging me and they're like, hey, so we're not going to go and do that this year, but next year we're going to go, and they had like some really cool names attached and things like that. So like there are other ones that are basically just now in the works that I'm already looking forward to, like, ooh, this is going to be fun. Yeah, so,
Very-
yeah.
Well,
It's
it's good that they waited because I know a lot of conventions who they're like, we just want to get started and do it, and then they start, and we've seen how that goes.
yeah. It's I think so. There's one like it was a really fun con, but Snake River Fandom Con. That was one where I went to out over in Idaho, and it was super fun while I was there. Really great. They actually posted me and like our group of cosplayers. I think we were like 8 people deep, and they paid for our hotels. They paid for our
Really?
entry. They gave us a per diem. Like they treated us super well. And it was an
Wow.
amazing experience. And then this year they were like, we can't really come back and all that kind of stuff, but there's hope for like the next year. So it always is one of those, we're seeing how different cons kind of like interact, where it's like the more kind of inclusive, well, not inclusive, but like the more that they try to like provide for guests and things like that, if they just don't have the clout to get there, they just wind up going under so fast.
Yeah, because it's so much money and time, and if they can't get it to take off, then it's like, we're out a lot.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
So it's like I'm always kind of expectant of that, but then at the same time, now traveling out to different cons, it's like, how is this one gonna do? So yeah, it's always the fun part. Like, how many cons have you gotten to be able to travel out to?
So as far as traveling, I haven't gone to many. I've gone to SoccerCon, which is in Seattle. I've gone to TwitchCon last year, which was in San Jose. And I had plans to go to PAX East, but I just couldn't quite afford it with everything else I was trying to do. But I've gone to pretty much every convention that we've had in Utah, like even the ones that I don't think are around anymore, or maybe change their name. Like I can't
Yeah.
keep up with all of them.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, especially, it's like, let's see, there was FantasyCon for one year that everyone raves about. I wasn't able to go.
Everyone talks about like FantasyCon was the best con that Utah's ever had, and I'm like, was it really? Was
Yeah.
it the best con that we've ever had?
I don't know. I'm still waiting for. I can't say that.
Because if it was the best, then where's Fantasy 2? You know what I'm saying?
Well, so basically, like the story behind FantasyCon was just like, it was great, it was fantastic. Then they got bowed out by another company, and that company basically went like, we're gonna do, and then they faded out too. So yeah, that's what kind of happened there. But it's like now there's basically like there's FanX, there's Anime Bonsai, there's Pop
Yeah.
Culture Convention, there's Wasatch Con, there's Gaming Con. It's like there's all these different ones that are.
Is Dragon Con still a...
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
actually happening at the same time PAX West is going on at the end of this month.
Oh,
Mhm.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause I
Okay.
was looking into those and they're really expensive.
I was gonna say, because I went to Dragon Con once, and then I hadn't heard about it at all this year, and I was like, does it still exist?
Oh no!
Is it?
It still exists. I'm surprised you can still remember Dragon Con, because
I like dragons. That's why.
that might be the name of this episode until I find something better. But it's like Dragon Con for most people is basically like, we're here to cosplay, and then halfway through it's we're drunk.
It sounds like most of my weekends. I'm here to gay. And I'm drunk.
That sounds like most of my time being a father. It's like, yes, this is awesome. Your mother's we're gonna have a great time, and then Tiff will be like, I'm on my way home. Great. I've got 5 minutes to get drunk. Yeah. There you go. But yeah, it's like Dragon Con is one where a lot of people definitely try to go and get out to, especially if you've never been out to Atlanta. I tell people it's like, yeah, it's a really great time to go to. Maybe bring a friend. Just someone that can watch over you. It's like, Ray, you'll be that for me. I was just like, Ray, if I start doing too many woos, stop me.
You do those when you're not drunk, so I could only imagine.
Work.
Yeah, but
All the time, across the whole bay, I just hear, woo! I'm like, what is going on over there?
yeah, but at least outside of work, he could do backflips for woos.
He did it at work the other day. We were talking about a bunch of stuff going on with the channel, and he just like out of nowhere, he's like,
Oh right, because you okay. I put the links together because you did gymnastics background. I was like, damn, you can just pull a flip whenever.
Just randomly, like, okay, well, so basically, like, what she's talking about is I do a game over at cons every now and then, which is backflip for woos.
Oh.
So every time someone goes like, woo, I'll just stop I'll stop everything I'm doing and do a backflip and whatnot. And like at first when people would kind of like see it's like, why is that going on? Now that I've kind of been doing it for a couple of years, it's one of those where I think I did it over at RTX and I think I was at like 64 backflips in one day.
My goodness.
So yeah, it's like once people understand the nature of the game, it's like I'll just be walking, someone will catch sight of me like short, dark, woo! Just like, all right, especially like my team in general, they'll sit there and wait till I have a bunch of stuff in my hands. I'm like, okay, cool, woo! You guys are dicks. Drop everything, do a backflip.
See, what we need to do is get the whole team to learn how to do backflips. And then every time someone does it, if we're up doing something, just stop, backflip, go.
That would be a hilarious day at the office. Everyone gets these like contracts. It's like, hey, you you get hurt on site, and everyone's like, what's going on? And we don't do anything that dangerous. Like, well, you're about to.
Like backflip training time.
Wait,
I'm down
you
for
got
this.
cogs going.
Ray, learn to do a backflip now.
You started the idea. You made it better with the contracts. I now am like.
I used to be able to do them. It wouldn't take me long to relearn.
It's okay. I'm gonna figure stuff out. I'm telling you right now. Some people can get away with just like a back somersault, just on the ground, just roll.
It's like Dark
Just some
Souls,
people
like
cartwheeling.
just rolling backwards.
Yes. You've now made it even better.
That would be great.
I'm sorry. I
If
feel
someone
like-
runs over to us and praises the sun, we all have to back somersault.
I'm
actually
so sorry
working
for any
on a
future
cosplay.
coworkers that.
Remember that sword I showed you?
Are you doing Artorias? Is that his name, or did I ruin his name?
No, actually, I have a friend who's doing Artorias.
Are you gonna be Sif?
That would be badass, but no.
I'm gonna be Sif.
Please do.
Okay.
You're like, if no one else is taking it, it's mine.
I'm so
I actually
down.
had a sugar glider named Sif.
Oh really?
He was so cute.
I love those guys.
Yep.
What is
Named
going
him
on in the
Sif
chat?
when I thought he was a girl.
Is Tommy in the chat?
I don't know, but the chat is now exploded with like backflips.
Everyone's like, woo!
Backflips and like, you're not wrong, and then upside down smiley faces. I'm like, there's gonna be a lot of backflips soon.
Unfortunately, not much room to do it in here,
It's,
but
it's okay. So it's like we'll figure that out. But no, now I have to go and teach Charlie how to do a backflip, so that way she can throw that in her streams and whatnot.
Whoa.
See,
Whoa.
As Sif. Backflips as Sif.
all of a sudden, someone just starts throwing bits in the chat. It's like backflip.
I'm gonna have people coming into my stream like, you're backflip girl, right? Like, I don't know how to do a backflip. I'm like, no, you're gonna do a backflip now.
So what we're saying is that next stream, all the backflips, the entire time.
I'm putting on Dark Souls. Next stream is a Dark Souls stream. That's gonna be my cop out.
that's where
Every
your
time you
backwards
die,
somersaults come
backflip.
in.
Oh gosh.
I need to sign the contract.
See, you just need to do a charity live stream, and every time someone donates, you just do a backflip.
Just random. I'm not even gonna say anything. Just all of a sudden, be like $2 backflip. So that way people can be like, "What the hell is going on?"
Like, they can't tell if you're doing it because of the donation or because you just had the urge to do a backflip. Just keep them guessing. Like, never acknowledge it.
That's a valid part with me too. I've done random backflips over at Walmart just for the shit of it.
You're like, I just want to do a
I feel like a
backflip.
backflip right now and do it, and then just keep on walking like it's nothing at all, and people just like. It's like it's the whole part of like there's a dark thing over. It's like over in Utah County. That's weird. They're real, and then having to do a backflip is just like my brain can't take it.
So why don't you have a camera crew following you around 24/7?
Right?
I'm afraid.
Have you cosplayed like Spider-Man or something like that?
So
Because that would be the best thing ever.
I used to have a job when I was like 16 as like a birthday party type character, and one of the ones that I did was Spider-Man, and it was kind of great because I did parkour and gymnastics, so I wasn't afraid to like run, jump, twist, flip, and all that kind of stuff. So I would do that over at some people's houses, but the company wouldn't tell the customers that I was able to do that. So at different times,
they would just panic.
yeah, there were all the times when all of a sudden, like, I would sit there, like, there was one party that I remember, the kids were all kind of, like, having fun, they were playing tag, and then one kid rounded on me, like, get Spider-Man! So I'm sitting there, like, okay, we're all running, and everyone's, like, 8 years old, and just started having fun, and then I remember going over, like, I'm running towards the side of their house, like, right over here, and then all of a sudden, it was like, doot, 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 wall run over on the side, and then side flip. The dad started losing his mind, he was like,
He's like calling the company. He's like, you didn't tell me you got actual Spider-Man for the party.
The entire time was sitting there freaking out, and then at one point, like, they're sitting there, they're getting ready to cut the cake and do all that kind of stuff, and I walk over to the mom, like, Mom, can I, like, go over on the roof and, like, maybe do a flip off the roof and whatnot? Mom was game. She's like, yeah, go ahead, that would be awesome. Didn't tell Dad.
Oh,
So
no.
all of a sudden, I'm sitting there climbing over on the roof, and all of a sudden, as soon as they go, like, whew, yeah! And all of a sudden I'm like, kids, Spider-Man! Jump and flip, and the dad is just like, no!
He's like, my son's about to be maimed for
He's
life.
just like, broken bodies and insurance, no!
Is that how you showed up at houses? You were just on top of the roof and you're like, Spider-Man is here! Backflip off the roof.
I would show up just in costume so that way I wouldn't have to explain things, just sort of like show up like, what's up, Spider-Man's over here and whatnot. I don't need to take this off. Spider-Man's not black at this time, so don't want to freak your kids out.
So, Rising Shadow Seer says that poor confused father. Viper's Venom just said Spider-Man pizza delivery.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Look, we've all seen Spider-Man 2 where all of a sudden he was on like a doggone little scooter. No, I really want to just go in and like, just start getting pizzas. I'll start paying I'll start using the company card. Just show up at random people's houses in Spider-Man costume. Pizza, like, Spidey pizza. And I'm going like, we didn't order. This is awesome. All right.
Yeah, if someone walked up to my house like that, I'd be like, you're amazing, thanks. Would you like a slice? Like,
But you have to be hanging upside down.
Oh, I'll do that.
you think he wouldn't?
I'll just sit there and just doing a handstand and then just offer it over like, pizza, handstand, flip somewhere else, and grab someone. Literally, all I would ask for is like, just keep your door open just so I can hear the what the fuck.
You're like on one hand, holding up the pizza with your foot. You're like, here you go.
Foot food.
Foot food.
You should be an Uber Eats delivery driver.
Please do
This is
this.
sounding better and better by the second. I need to do this.
I would die. I would laugh so hard if my Uber Eats driver showed up to my door as Spider-Man, gave me my food, and started doing flips as he was going back to his car. I'd lose it.
It's like, okay, speaking of Uber, there were so many times, like, I used to also be an Uber driver, and there were times where, like, my experience was, like, if you were a really fun driver and you had some really cool people, they would also invite you over to whatever they were doing. So there'd be so many times I'm sitting there driving around like, okay, cool, you guys have a good night. You want to come in and, like, join the party? cool. And just show up. And then, like, usually throughout the course of the night, I would wind up doing a backflip for, at some point, just because, hey, backflips. So yeah, I can now just imagine, like, showing up, giving someone a pizza, doing a backflip, and then be like, Spite, you're going nowhere. Come back over here. You don't just do a backflip and then walk away. Right? We're throwing a party now. It doesn't matter. Just
Calling all their friends. We got Spider-Man at the house.
it's like, dude, 3 words: Spider-Man, pizza, backflips. Come here now.
So
Halloween.
I think our next video idea is this.
Yeah.
It's just gonna be you just running around as
Pranking.
Spider-Man, giving pizzas away.
See, you said pizzas away. You said pranking. I'm now in love
could
with
do
this
both.
idea. Because Spider-Man pranks would probably imagine Spider-Man doing. Oh God, what was that damn show with Ashton Kutcher?
Oh,
Yeah.
Punk'd.
See, now I want to go and do Spider-Man's version of Punk'd. Just sitting there, like, running by something, throwing a bunch of web, and be like, Punk'd! And someone going like, dude, I can't get out of this.
Well, that would make an amazing like skit.
Yeah.
Could show like like the shitty looking like person like stuck in a spider web.
Okay, so no more. Everybody forget we talked about this, and then
Yeah,
Yeah.
We have like the Men in Black, like flash the chat real quick, make sure that no one remembers, so our idea is solid.
I can do this. There you go. Oh man, see, this is one of the reasons why I was so looking forward to having you over on the podcast, because we met when doing a panel over at Gaming Con. And it was just a regular streaming panel, and you would come in like part way through. I remember sitting there just going like, okay, everything's kind of good, and then Kari leans over to me like, oh yeah, and I've got one other person joining. I'm like, who? Who? No one else was in the chat. So then when you came up like running, the sort of sat next to me, I'm like, person just joining the panel. Awesome, let's go do this. And we just kept on going with jokes, and I'm like, you're awesome. You're awesome.
Thank you.
So, yeah, it's
It
like,
was so fun.
like I said, that panel was great. And then as soon as after that, I was like, I wonder if she wants to go and do a podcast. I remember sending you the message like, get ready for the rejection.
I was so honored. I've wanted to do like podcasts and stuff, and I'm so happy to get to collab with someone else that's in Utah, because we're like few and far between on content creators here. So
Yeah.
I felt very lucky.
Well, see, okay, I will tell you this right now. Always be reserved when saying like, oh, I've wanted to do a podcast, because in 3 months
Oh
I
my
can
God.
easily have you doing a podcast. It's like people have said like, I wanted to start a podcast, and then I'm like, challenge accepted. And in 3 months they're literally doing it. But let's see, Madam Moody, Tyler, let's see, Mercedes Roberts. Yeah, they all now do podcasts, because I was like, you're doing a podcast now.
It's because of you. Like I knew about Tyler and Candace.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like I helped Moody get her podcast going, and then Cosplay Stitch and Scene, which is another really great cosplay podcast you guys really should check out. Like the one that I do is more just conversational. The one that they do is actually informative. So if you want to learn things with cosplay,
Aw.
don't come up to me.
Edutainment.
Yeah, it's like go to them. They actually have experience with like World Cosplay Summit and judging and things like that. I just make people laugh. I'm here for the giggles, and that's about it. But yeah, it's like I'm telling you right now, if you watch yourself, because you could be doing a streaming podcast within minutes.
I'll
and the good
definitely
thing is
keep
she
it in
already
mind.
has all the setup for it too.
It's true.
Crap!
It'd be so much easier.
You're selling this to me. And you need to stop selling to me and sell it to her.
So podcast.
And I'm pretty sure your chat likes the idea.
Oh, what is this? Howdy time! I love it.
Right? Yeah, it's like coming to you soon, Charleemanderz, the podcast.
Aww.
Oh man, well it's. I figure since you're over here, one of the things that I was actually the most curious about and whatnot, because I I kind of streamed for a little bit and then stopped, but I had a lot of fun doing it. I really want to go and do it again. But the weirdest things would always happen to me in the streams, like all good things, but like whether the game something would happen in the game that almost like never happens, or just like someone would all of a sudden show up in the chat and I'm like, you're weird and I love you, and whatnot. So like, what are some of your favorite moments while you've actually been able to stream?
Oh man, I have so many moments. I feel like they happen all the time, and I want to think about this. Oh God, I bumped it again. Sorry, everybody.
I knew I saw you doing it. I'm like, he's gonna reference it.
Some favorite moments on stream. Oh, okay. There was one that was really, really fun. I had about 1 billion of these because when I first started streaming, I was like, yeah, I'm a variety streamer. And then I played nothing but Skyrim for like 6 months. And like I modded the hell out of it. So it was hardly a game anymore. It was so broken. And I was leaving some area and this group of guards came up. They'll have war hammers, two-handed weapons, and they're like basically telling me like, you punk ass bitch, like, we're gonna come like kill you. And I was like, what is happening? So I'm like, oh, I'll kill these guys. I'm like level 30 something. It shouldn't be that hard. They one-shot me almost immediately. So I was like, okay, I know what I'm gonna do. So I have this I had this mod that was a shout that would freeze time. So I froze time, and I was and I was playing Sweet Dreams Are Made of These in like Quicksilver from X-Men. And I was running up to him and just smacking him, and so they'd like start to move. And then when I played it, I took a long time doing this. Like I was like hitting him multiple times. We were like just dancing in the chat like to the song. And then when I unpaused it, I thought they would all just die. And that would be that. But what ended up happening is it created this horrible collision error. So, like, everyone's bodies were mangled, and then someone's body hit me, and I died, too. And then the game crashed. And it was like, we just kind of sat there on our on our desktop, and I was like, maybe we should go the other way. Maybe we shouldn't fight those guys at all, actually.
It's like having the best moment, just like, this is awesome, yeah, and then the game catches up and you're like, so next time we're just going to do normal and then just take a stage left.
Yes, exactly. I was really sad, though, because we didn't get a clip of it, and so because I'd used that song, when I went back to try and clip it, it was all muted.
No.
And I was like, oh, damn it. Like, I didn't think about it until after. I was like, I should ask someone to clip it. But yeah.
The things you learn
Yes.
as a more experienced streamer, rather
Yes.
than like anytime a moment happens, you just tell your entire chat like, someone clip it, clip it, clip
Yes.
it, because I won't be able to.
Because sometimes, not all the time, sometimes they'll still take down the clips. But if you have a clip that has like the copywritten music or whatever,
Mhm.
because they can be so short, sometimes they won't care.
Okay.
So like, if there's ever a moment like that, just yell at chat, like, clip it,
Fair.
please.
See, and that's usually why, like, when I used to stream, I would have OBS streaming and recording.
Yep.
So that way it's like,
Same.
do this so that way I can upload the clip later. Yeah, no, I do. It's like I did want to go and ask this because I remember during the panel,
Mhm.
there's one game that you play pretty much all the time, and when I've jumped over into your stream, it's all you were playing
Oh,
except
boy.
recently. You like League a lot,
I
don't you?
I do. I'm partnered with League, so I play I play a lot of League of
Wow.
Legends. Well, I have, but then recently I've gotten more into variety. So
Mhm.
when TFT came out with League, I started playing some TFT, and then I started console gaming again because I was just getting really disheartened with League because I was on this huge loss streak, and
Ooh.
I was like,
Oh.
I can't do it on stream because if I demote on stream, my mental will explode. So I'm like, we're just going to put League on the back burner, and I'm going to play something that I love, like Voltorb Flip, for the rest of my life, and then we'll just never play League again. But
Yeah, that's kind of me with Overwatch because I had been on such a great win streak for the longest time, and I stopped playing it for I think it was like a week, and I lost all of that when I came back. I
Oh,
just went on
no.
like I think it was like a 3-week loss streak. I won like maybe 2-3 games, and I haven't played it since, and it sucks because I love the game so much. But
I feel it, and it's like
Yep.
I don't want to play it off stream because then I feel guilty for. I know this is silly. Like sometimes I feel guilty when I play games off stream because I'm like, oh, I could be streaming this right now.
yep.
And so, but especially with League, I'm like, I can't stream it right now because my mental just sucks when I play it because I'm like, I just want to promote and I want to do good.
Yeah.
But then I'm not as entertaining when I'm streaming League. So
Yeah.
Ultra flip.
Yeah, I will say this, Viper's Venom, you're like my new favorite person. Every time I look over at chat, I'm like, what is Viper saying?
Viper's a good guy.
It's like, I'm now kind of like specifically looking for his comments. It's just like, what up, brother? But yeah, he's basically like, League is life. No, I'm just sitting there, you.
That's always one game that I've wanted to play is League, because I've had so many friends that have always advertised the game. They're like, it's so good, I play it all the time. I'm like,
Yeah.
but I don't have anybody to teach me, and I don't know if I want to learn the game. So
It's like I don't know. It's got a big learning curve, I guess.
Mhm.
But I think the main thing is just like your expectations for League have to be
Yeah.
like, I'm learning this game,
Mhm.
and I'm not going to be instantly good at it. And the community can be really toxic, so you just mute everyone
Yep.
unless you're playing with friends, and you just play at your own pace and just focus on one thing at a time.
Mhm.
And it's fun. I can't even say that like like I'm saying it to convince myself like it's a fun game, Charlie. I swear it's a fun game.
See, I'm glad that you're having that sort of like same frustration because I got sucked into the other camp of Smite.
Ah.
And I had in maybe like a year and a half where that's basically the only game that I played over on my crappy laptop that was dying constantly. But I would sit there and just play that game nonstop, and I would get rushed every single time. There'd be times when I'm like, I'm with other people, and all of a sudden, like, my Thor that'd be over on my team. I'm like, dude, rush, go, go. And he would just sort of, like, be over in the corner, basically, like, picking his nose. And I'm just like, I'm going to die. My Artemis is just getting wrecked because you're an idiot. And all that kind of stuff. So it's like, I stopped playing just because it got too frustrating, and more because my wife was like, I can't take you playing Smite anymore. And then like right after that I was like, hey, League, and she's like, no, because I'm not dealing with this.
She just shut it down right there. She's like, no.
Well, it's like because I had more friends now starting to play League, and I'm just like, but I could join friends and this would be great. And she's like, you turned into an asshole. No.
We should
I
play
feel
video
it.
games like that because I want to see that side of Stefan. I want to see
It's-
serious, angry Stefan.
It's basically what I say is like it's your average football fan on like Sunday, just that's like, I'm all about the game.
See, that's me with every video game because, as all of my friends can tell you, when I play a game, I do not play to lose. Every game I play, I learn every strategy I can about it, every single little piece about it, except for Call of Duty because my roommate beats me on that. But like Rainbow Six Siege, oh, I love that game. And if I'm losing, I always go and I'm like, "Okay, team, you're doing it wrong. You need to do it this way. We're all going on the left side, and they keep killing us on the left side, so we need to go this way instead." And then they never listen to me, and I cry.
So what you're saying is that we now need to do videos over in this, just so that way, knowing the normal Crackbrain crew, we're not going to listen to a word that you're gonna say. You're gonna be doing shouts of like, okay, we need to go and do this. Carly's gonna be off over on Mars, and they're looking at like, guys, you realize in game we can look at the sun. Brandon's gonna be sitting there like, I can throw down grenades, and I'm gonna be sitting there like, I don't know what to. I got headshotted. Alright, I am perfect bait, okay? You put me in front of you, I get shot constantly and almost rarely die, but I attract the enemy's fire all the time.
But there's team killing in that game and penetration. I will die too.
He said penetration.
See, I'm glad you picked up on that.
Okay, you're getting me into games now, and now I'm getting serious. Yeah, but I am call out king in that game. In all games.
You're gonna be sitting there flank, and I'm just gonna be sitting there like, flank steak is awesome.
I hate you all.
Which I'll also say this. So yesterday we started filming 7 Days to Die. Fantastic game.
Without me.
Why is there a sigh? Why is there a sigh? It's.
Is that a bad sigh or I wish I could play it kind of sigh?
No, it's me and my friend used to play horror games and stuff together all the time because no one else would play with her, and like I liked horror games and she's like, no one else wants to play this with me, so she bought me the game. And I don't know why it just didn't clash with me. Maybe I was having a bad day, but I was doing terrible in that game. and I was like, I hate this game. And she's like, I bought it for you. And I was like, oh right, I can't say that. I can't say that I hate it because she bought it for me. But I think it was like the most miserable I've ever had playing a game with a friend. Like I hated that game so much.
See, now you know that you need to go and play it, but this time don't play it seriously.
Right.
Play it completely for fun, because that's basically I really hope that we're able to go and release that footage and whatnot, because nothing went right for us at all.
That's
Brandon kept on getting attacked by giant bears.
Was it the zombie bears or the regular bears?
I don't know.
They both suck, but the zombie ones have
see
more
his
talent.
screen. But all I would ever hear was like, I'd be going like, dude, I can't find you. I'm in this this fire nightmare hellish scene, and all of a sudden, bear, another goddamn bear.
Do I need to teach you guys how to play the game?
We know how to play the game. We know, and what's bad is I hate horror games. I was an anxious mess the entire time. My anxiety level was all the way up here. I'm just like, something's going on. I swear to God, I'm gonna get found by a zombie. And so I'm sitting there picking up every single rock, every single feather.
Right.
I would run through grass and just I'm punching grass. And the only reason why I ever died, I died once because I ran out of food and I got hungry and I died. And then we died at the end. The ending of our video is the best, and I don't want to give it away, but it is such it's not anticlimactic, but you guys died in the best of ways that really has no resolution whatsoever.
Oh no.
It was great because when me and my roommates played, my roommate's the same way as I am, and we play to win. So we got that down pretty well. We built our base, had it all set up, and we wanted to do this little piece so the zombies take fall damage. So we basically were building a ramp so that way they would climb up it trying to get to our base and would fall and die, or at least break their legs, they'd become crawlers. And then we had spikes they had to run through and all that. But to do that, there was a mountain in front of us. And my roommate is like, we need someone to take this down. And I like monotonous work. So I was like, got you. I took down an entire mountain. I think it took me a whole week's worth of playing. But they were just out doing all their stuff. They didn't know what was going on where I was. They came back and they're like, there was a mountain here. What happened to it? I was like, I happened.
Right. See, and Stormy Tacos over inside the chat, it's sounds like a second-rate Minecraft. You're not exactly wrong. Legitimately, it's Minecraft with zombies, but with better graphics.
Yeah,
Stormy-
better graphics and more stuff to do.
Stormy,
More now.
that is exactly why I didn't like it.
You don't like Minecraft?
he knows. Stormy's been my mod since I started streaming, and we've had this discussion many times. It's not that I don't like Minecraft. I actually love watching Minecraft. I love watching people in Minecraft. I can't play it effectively. I'm too ADD, and then the idea that I have to mine something and gather something to make something is I want it to just be there already.
I want to just do
I just want it
thing.
to be there. And then
See-
when I watch someone else do it, I'm like, oh, they're doing it.
See, I'm
That's
the other way.
great.
I'm like, you want to give me a boring task and do it all day? I got you. I like repetitive stuff. I'll mine shit all day.
See, you and I will now get along over in most games because you mine stuff, I build stuff. I don't want to go out and do anything. I'm the perfect person over in a
Ski. Listen, we're gonna yell at them. Are they watermelon? They are not.
Chaotic as hell.
Oh, that reminds me of in this way back in the day, I guess, Infection on Halo 2, when you're like, whoever was infected, and they're just super fast with like their energy source.
Let's see if this works. Okay, I think we're back. Sweet. I need to turn on my microphone one more time. Okay, I think we're back.
Okay.
Okay, we're back.
Excellent. So are we live back or are we just recording?
Oh no, we're live.
Oh, we live.
Hear us though?
We live. Yeah, well, is your microphone?
Yeah.
Then yeah.
I'm so sure about that. That whole,
So-
it's totally.
Yeah, no, it's on.
Do you need?
No, I'm going to deal with this one over here. 'Cause
Okay.
My phone is yelling at me like, we're dying.
And then you give us all this harshness about our phones not being charged.
He's on 20% at least.
Yeah, well, 10.
Oh, spoke too
You
soon.
have to have Apple. Can't you have a charger I can use?
I technically I think I do have one.
You know
around,
what? I might have one. I got my Switch.
Yes, I could use that.
So yeah, I'm sorry to everyone that's basically, that, for what went on. Basically, we had a power outage over here.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys.
Yeah, we had like 2 that happened back to back. So there's a kind of like a storm going on right now.
Yeah.
So
I mean, there's thunder now, so yeah, I'd say full storm.
okay, well,
It followed
all right,
Charlie.
Bane.
I can say when there's actual weather in this state. No one else.
Yeah,
can.
because you have like just that and nothing else up there.
We just have rain and snow constantly, except for like 2 months where it's dying heat.
Yeah, even the chat was saying that there's not even otter pops in Maine.
What?
Pops.
What are you supposed to do?
There's just popsicles. That's
So-
all.
Just
Yeah,
popsicles?
like no name brand popsicles, and then you've got like the expensive kind of stuff.
Do we have a help hotline for Maine? Maine? I didn't realize you were suffering. If I'll have to do a charity stream, send otter pops to Maine.
Otter Pops for hashtag Otter Pops for Maine.
They may have them now. I mean, I've been gone for 5 years, but yeah, as a kid, it was just popsicles.
Oh wait, I know a lot of people. They're not all called otter pops though. They're called like a. What's the other name? Because I know some people in the chat are gonna be like, "What the heck's an otter pop?"
Bless you.
It's like it's not a squeezy pop. Damn it. What is it
Oh,
called?
you're talking about the like little cylinder things, the push pops, right?
No, I'm
Like
talking
the-
about otter pops, just the other name. Because in like Canada, they're called something else.
That's probably what made
Popsicle
it.
pops?
What could it be?
Have any? Yeah, you can. You're just gonna have to like realize that. It's not
Just
gonna
be
be-
right in front of the camera. I mean, you
Yeah,
know,
center of attention, thank you.
you guys don't even know.
You
New guy.
What do you
New
take?
guy over
Can
here.
I get a
Raise
break?
the-
Ever?
Just
Can I
just-
ever get a break?
no. No, it's no.
No, okay. Alright with this.
There you go. Yeah. it's
He
slowly-
hasn't even made me fresh coffee.
Hmm.
You still have coffee.
Still
You have
wants you to
over
play
half a
Minecraft.
cup.
With him?
Yeah. You and Stormy now need to play Minecraft.
Oh
Yeah, I
God.
saw that.
I can only imagine how much not fun we're both going to have.
You will have all of the fun.
It's not like I haven't played it. Like I've definitely played Minecraft. I played Creativerse, which was like the other, like, dollar store Minecraft. I played. I don't know. I'm just like not. I can't play them successfully. I feel like I don't accomplish anything, and my houses aren't that cool. I don't know. Maybe I have like a comparison problem. Like everyone else's Minecraft is cool. My Minecraft sucks, and I don't want to improve it. It's a me problem. It's a me problem.
What we need to do is we just need to teach you how to Minecraft. We'll all get on and we'll teach you how to Minecraft.
I just want like I saw you can get dogs. I just want like a pack of dogs. Is that okay? Can that be enough Minecraft?
It's gonna be a roving hermit, just like alright, you guys build the houses, build all the cool stuff. I'm just gonna come out with my pack of dogs.
Yes.
We're going to have a little bit of fun, and then we're gonna keep on going around and just experience everyone else's other shit.
That's all I want. I just want to explore with my dogs.
My issue is every time I get a dog, I treat it like a dog in real life. If my dog dies, my server dies. Because my dog stays at my house. I get one dog, I name him, he sits in my house, that's where he stays. And if he ever dies, I delete the save.
What is wrong with you?
Do you want my dogs to die? This is my way of being sad, okay? If my dog dies, I have to get rid of the world because I can't exist in it anymore.
This is so relatable. I feel this.
I cannot live on this state of existence. My dog has died. Delete server.
I have to make a new world.
I'm not living in a world without my dog.
Maybe not get a dog.
I can't though.
Be nice to all the dogs, but you don't need a dog.
Live without a dog. The cats can all go. I don't care that much.
Don't
The
you
dogs,
say nothing about my cats.
I don't care that much for cats. I don't have anything against them, but I'm allergic, so I can't. Yeah, not badly allergic, but they just make my face itchy.
Be gone with you and your dogs. Alright, me and Scaly Kitty are gonna go and we're gonna have a whole lot of fun.
Is that your bearded dragon?
Yeah, Scaly Kitty.
Oh my god, that's so
Okay,
cute.
That's his fun
I didn't
name.
know. That's his
I thought you
fun
were
name.
talking about a Minecraft kitty.
It's not a nickname, it's a fun name.
No. Okay, so the bearded dragon's name is Neko, which is Japanese for cat.
Right, right.
So yes, I've named my lizard cat, but we all call him Scaly Kitty.
I love it. I love it. I used to call all the dragons in Game of Thrones, they were all kitties, because they acted like kitties.
See?
Yeah.
So the lizards, cats.
Kitties with wings and breathe fire.
Yeah, they're independent. They want to do their thing, but they also like a couple head scratches now and then.
See,
They only come
Charlie
Yeah.
gets this.
I like kitties.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Hey, the dog that you can have as a companion in Skyrim, you know the one that sticks with you
Oh,
until you
yeah.
finish the mission? Yeah, I never finished the mission, so he could always be
I
with
did
me.
the same thing. I think I also killed his owner, so he's my dog.
Yeah. Lydia sucks, so
I-
anything is better than her.
I hate Lydia.
Every time Lydia becomes your companion for the first time, I literally tell her to go back home. I'm like, Lydia, you need to go. You killed
So,
me.
speaking of more funny stories about streaming Lydia, because you brought it up. So, my Skyrim was broken, as you knew. And Lydia was not my companion. I did not want Lydia. I had Serana. I had my dog. I was like, I'm good. I don't need nobody. And I was doing Dark Brotherhood missions. But Lydia, for some reason, whenever I would kill someone, no matter where I was, it's like I would kill someone in secret, and all of a sudden it's like 1,000 bounty added to Whiterun. And I'm like, bitch, where? And I look over, and Lydia's looking at me, like, and I'm like, where did you come from?
She's your creeper.
And she would just, wherever I traveled to, she would show up and walk by me, but I'd like click on her to be like, go home, but she wasn't my follower. And if I tried to get her to follow me, it'd be like, oh, you have too many companions. I'm like, then why are you here? Go home.
My
Bitch, go
biggest-
creep, alright?
my biggest gripe with Lydia, I don't care that she gets me killed so many times because I'm always stealth. It's always my character, and she's so fucking obvious. No matter, it's not even that. You know, the fact that she's just dumb as hell, never knows how to kill anything. It's the fact that she disappears for months at a time and then comes back out of nowhere.
I know. It's like, Lydia, look, that's not our relationship. You can't just come and go whenever you want.
Yeah, it's either you're here or you're not, so she's not.
So I had a theory. I was like, well, if she's just going to show up wherever I am, I'm going to go to High Hrothgar. So I went to High Hrothgar, and lo and behold, Lydia's just passing through the area. She's walking by. Oh, I heard the Jarl, blah, blah, blah. So I Fusfordad her off High Hrothgar, hoping that that would end my issues and that she would just be dead or lost forever. And I did it, and I was happy, and I didn't even fast travel, because I was like, if I fast travel, maybe it'll reset it. So I walked all the way down that goddamn mountain, and I went into River Run, and walking right by, like nothing happened. I was like, or Riverwood, one of the two. Oh. I was like, I'm gonna have to delete her code. That's the only way to get rid of her. I have to go into the code and delete her.
There's actually a mod to get rid of her.
Just delete her.
If not, it needs to be made.
Or like,
Anybody listening who knows how to code, make that a mod.
please.
Look, I don't know what's wrong with y'all, because Lydia was always more than fine with me. First, that girl. Look, okay, I was never necessarily the nicest person to her, because I had her like overloaded with gear all
she's
the time.
passive. It's the only thing she's good for, except for when she disappears with everything you own.
She would never just. I just don't think she liked white people all that much. Alright.
My character was a cat.
Alright. Maybe she could like sense the white in you. Because she was always way fine with me. Kill things she killed more things with me. Like, hey, can you stop that so I can get some experience? Okay, like me and her, we were down. The only one I ever had a problem was with Farkas.
Oh.
Right? That bastard would come in. I would make the best sword for him. And then all of a sudden, there were so many times where I would go and get the dual-handed, like, dragon blade. And whatnot, and all of a sudden, like, cool, it's legendary. Here you go, buddy. And he would nope the fuck out. He'd just be like, thanks. Got my stuff and gone. Alright? So, no. Farkas was my dude. I'm like, you cock block son. You ain't doing this with me no more. Lydia, she was down.
I can't like entirely blame Lydia because my game was broken. So like anything that was wrong with her, I was like, this is my fault, probably, truthfully.
I always mod the hell out of Skyrim too. Always do, because after playing it, with the vanilla playthroughs, it gets boring.
Oh yeah,
You
gotta spice it up.
I don't know. Every time Lydia, she always gets me stuck in a death loop. You know the bridge that goes over by Whiterun when you go over to the Giants?
Mm-hmm.
There's that little bridge that's over there. I always go and cross that bridge, and I don't know how, but she always gets me stuck in a goddamn death loop. There was one time she knocked me off the bridge and saved just as I was stepping off.
Oh
So
no.
every time I respawn, fall. And my last save was before I even got to Whiterun.
I have the most horrible story about Skyrim. So when Skyrim first came out like right around my birthday, and I played it like nonstop. This was not good, but I would go to school and then like my mom would drop me off and then I'd immediately walk back out the doors and walk home to play Skyrim. Like I just wanted to play Skyrim all day. And I did, and I got really far. And I was a completionist, so I was like just wanted to do everything, but I hadn't done the Thieves Guild missions yet. And I was I was very immersed with Skyrim, like entirely. So I went to my house and I like put my armor away and trained it into my light armor because I was like heavy armor, two-handed weapon. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna be a thief. So I'm gonna wear my light armor that wasn't leveled very high. I'm gonna have my thieves stuff, my daggers, my arrows, also not leveled very high. It was high, but it wasn't like where I was. Yes, exactly. And so then I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go do my Thieves Guild missions. And I was like end game leveled. I was like 70 something. Like it was very, very high. And I didn't like fast travel anywhere because I wanted all the XP. I didn't want to miss anything in this game. So I was walking and a blood dragon came down. I'm like, no big deal. I got it. I'm fighting him. Another blood dragon. 3 blood dragons. And I'm like, I'm getting hurt, and I don't really get hurt in this game at this point. And I was like, dang, I'm low. So I pause, save, eat all my cheese, eat all my whatever that I have in there. And when I unpause, I was already mid-death animation. And so I was looped, and I was like, let's go back to a previous save, right? But earlier that day, because I was incredibly sleep-deprived, because I played nothing but Skyrim, I deleted my saves from the top down instead of from the bottom up. and I loaded my last save as a level 18,
Ooh.
and I stopped I stopped playing Skyrim, and I didn't pick it back up until I started streaming. And it was like with mods and everything, because it was like it just stung too much. Like I was like, oh my progress. I played it for so long. Like, I think it was like the saddest I've ever been over a video game in my life. Like it was just horrible.
I haven't had that level of heartbreak with Skyrim. Well, at least me personally and whatnot, where I've had my most hurtful memory of Skyrim was so I'd gotten the game myself, and then right before I gave it away, I was playing another playthrough. Actually, I was over on another Thieves Guild. I just got
The Thieves Guild.
Yeah, it's like, I just got my Nightingale armor, and I'm like,
Yes.
this is the armor that I love the most. I can't wait. I am a bow freak, and it looks amazing with the bow and everything. This is fantastic. But I was still relatively low on my level and whatnot, and my circumstances, it wasn't dragons. It was giants.
Oh.
And basically, it was like I remember sitting there, kind of running around, and all of a sudden, I was like, "Ooh, there's a giant camp." So I remember going over there. I'm like, I can take out one giant. That's no problem. And usually there's like another one, but I was like, I should be able to go and handle it. Start battling, and I'm like, okay, this is pretty good. And while battling, like kind of running around trying to get better vantage points while shooting arrows, I'm like, there's another giant. There's another giant. There's another giant.
Oh no.
Oh my god, there's 10 giants. And I remember sitting there like, okay, I'm gonna turn my microphone down for a second, but I was like,
Hey.
the entire time. And then all of a sudden, like, my death was nothing but yes.
The chat is saying there's something wrong with both of your guys's.
It's probably crushy. Yeah, it's like mine was already having issues before, so probably just need to go and turn mine down a bit.
Yeah,
Yours,
mine's on,
which color are you?
I think it's yellow.
You're yellow?
Yeah, yellow.
You're yellow, so let me try turning yours up a bit. And
Why
see.
am I always yellow? Can I be green for once?
Yeah. So yeah, I had to go and also turn mine.
Yeah, they're saying that the mics are race or sexist.
Who said that?
Oh my gosh, it was a little while
It
back.
was a while ago.
So even when our
Yeah.
the whole thing glitched out,
That
people-
would be why.
people
Oh,
people are
Yep.
still hearing us.
Oh.
We're hearing both of us talk while you guys were up and walking around.
yeah. So basically, what went on is that your guys' wireless receiver just traveled like nothing had happened. Ours literally turned off and went like, I'm not turning it back on.
So does that mean that you need to turn your mics back down?
Probably, maybe.
Should be okay now.
It's because
we'll
I'm
see.
here. That's why we're having tech issues. I promise.
We have
She brought the
issues
storm with
every
her.
single week.
No, what do you mean? She brought the storm with her.
Yeah, that's
It
what I
just
was
traveled
saying.
south.
Yeah. So hopefully that should be a little bit better. But yeah, it's like this is one of the things we're doing this podcast way is the tech issues that you run into streaming is like, oh, okay, well, I need to quickly go and do this. Doing it this way is like, you know, like if we had someone sitting right there doing all of this, it'd be so much easier.
We need a tech guy.
I told you I can do it if you put me on the other side of the wall and I have a view of it.
Yeah, well, no, you just sit in the chair while we all have fun. So.
Dude,
Well,
just
that way
was
you
so
could
much
watch-
harder and everything. You know I'm gonna be sitting here laughing the whole time though.
Yeah, see, that's the problem. I need a sound engineer that's not going to laugh and make noise.
So you
So-
need someone who's dead inside.
If you're a sound engineer looking for work and also has no sense of humor, please,
Also
Doesn't
willing
mind
not-
not being paid.
if you like exposure, we can give you a little bit.
It can be like the racer from Top Gear. Completely emotionless, never seen face, and is always there though.
Not wrong. You're not wrong.
And then 20 years later, we'll reveal his face.
Or data.
See,
Yeah.
there you go.
Mhm.
There you go. So yeah, like I said, now I'm seeing over in chat. So yeah, our microphones are finally back on.
Oh,
It's
good.
just- it's always a thing. So oh my god. Well, so okay. So before everything was recording, I think. we were talking about some of the games that that we're all playing and whatnot. So right now you're doing a playthrough of Gears of War.
Yes. Yeah.
How has that been for you?
It's been fun. I think my biggest gripe with it as a campaign is I like to play harder difficulty.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing with playing Gears of War specifically on a harder difficulty isn't that like I don't know why I'm expecting them to do this, but it's not like the bots are mechanically outskilling me. They just can take more hits and do way more damage.
Yeah.
So it just makes every mission feel tedious instead of like really like kind of challenging, because it's not like they're doing like they still walk at you and shoot, and you're like, if you didn't have super health, like you'd be dead already.
Yeah,
But if you turn it to normal, then it's like they don't do very much damage and everything's fodder. So it's like I'd rather play where we can get through the story, because that's really why I'm playing it. Like if I wanted to play competitively, I'd just play multiplayer.
Yeah, I heard that one of the biggest gripes with it is the fact that the AI doesn't get smarter; it just gets more monotonous.
Exactly. So it just feels like a more tedious way. Like if you can play it on Insanity, you're just going to hate everything about it. You're just going to have a horrible time.
That's the most fun game interaction. Like, oh god, I want to play this game. I'm going to hate this level and this mode, but I don't know why I'm playing this.
It's like when you're playing like Legendary in Halo, and you're like trying to get all the skulls. You're like, you're doing it because you want to do it. You want the feat of it. You're like, I beat Halo 2 on Legendary. Got all the skulls. I beat Library. I did it.
Charlie, stop speaking my language. I'm sitting there like, oh. Because now I'm like, I'm playing Halo right after this.
Why have we not done Halo?
Because I specifically want 4-person perspective.
You know I am always down to game.
I know. I know. We just need 4 computers to run all at the same time in the same place.
I have I have 2 computers. Technically, I actually have 3. So
All in one? Because that thing is a freaking monstrosity.
actually, if I wanted to, I could have at least 2 computers in there.
He's okay. No, all right. His case, it's not okay. Like we've got the sleek and stylish kind of over there. It's
Yeah.
small, contained, easily transportable. This behemoth that
See
he
that
constantly-
table right there?
Yes.
Same size. If
it's
you were to put it in
No,
a
no,
box.
it's bigger. It's bigger. Your crap is all the way
It
up to
goes
here.
Yeah.
to here,
Oh, it's
and then it's about this wide around.
Oh.
My motherboard is
Turn to
back
let the
there.
camera see.
Oh yeah, sorry. This high,
Dude,
this big. So the motherboard I have in there. So you have your regular, motherboards you have on a computer. Think bigger.
Oh.
So it fits more space and has a bunch of other fancy stuff with it. But
So like more room for more graphics
Yeah.
cards and stuff too.
but the case, my phone might be charged enough. I'll show you a picture in a minute.
Viper.
But yeah, it's
Charlie flexing.
But it's literally big enough to hold 2 motherboards in it, so I could have 2 computers in there.
Wow.
I've seen a guy who did 3. So you can put a motherboard on the back and on the front, because it's kind of like it's got a bunch of cooling space in the back. So if you do it tight enough, you can do it. This guy modded it, so there's a little spot for hard drives if you want them in the front for some reason. He cut that out, beveled it down, and put like a mini motherboard in there.
Whoa.
And he had 3 computers in one thing.
What is even what?
Well,
To just
he-
hook up?
He had a
Had-
recording one, he had an editing
Oh.
one, and he just had
Oh,
one for
because
browsing.
people do computers for dedicated just for streaming, and then they
Yeah.
have their other. That's
Yep.
so cool.
I was like, this is awesome, because now I was like, I want to do the same thing, and it's so easy to do. I was like, I could throw another computer in there and just have one big computer. But this man makes me lug that behemoth down here every time he wants to play. And I'm like, I want to play, so I'll just deal with it. I think it's something like 50 plus pounds.
Look,
Ooh.
4 flights of stairs up is where I lose.
Ooh.
didn't like maybe 10, 15 minutes ago you're sitting there saying, I have a computer.
I
have
know. I want a game. I do, but I hate carrying it at the same time. Why
And
can't
yet
you live closer?
You need to get like a dolly, like a travel dolly for it.
Yeah.
I know.
Where you
I
can
literally- I'm actually thinking of buying a different case so I can just throw it in there and call it good.
Or
until I can buy a second computer, so that way I can
and then
do it better.
deassemble and like have your 2 computers.
Yeah,
We'll
so
see.
I can
And
have a mobile one and everything.
that's
Yeah.
also one of the reasons why, like, you guys can't see the setup over here, but like over in here we will be building an actual kind of like workstation all the way around, so that way people can just basically like, come, bring your stuff, set it over here, and if you don't want to take it home, you don't have to. And whatnot. So there's that. Plus, I might be moving soon, closer to you.
Yes, thank God.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So that's a whole thing. Stormy Tacos just put wheels on it.
Yeah, just whoa. That's
It
a
looks
that's
like
That's on a
3D
desk.
printer.
That
It
is
looks
on
like
a desk.
hold on.
doesn't
That
it?
that looks like a terrarium for a computer. Like like
Yeah.
it looks like you'd have like some little like cyber lizard living in it. Like it's huge. That's so huge.
We need to get another case and put a lizard in it now.
and then you feed it little USBs. You're like, here you go, little guy.
But yeah, I have to lug that thing over.
I
here.
might draw that later. I really like that a lot. Why I don't know why it inspired me so much, but I really like the
That's
idea of a
fair.
little cyber lizard.
I'm just thinking
Ideas.
like it's a full size lizard, and then the end of it is just like getting digitized as it goes away.
Yes.
See, here's the thing: is you all discussing this right there. I'm sitting there looking at like what kind of it's like what kind of Raspberry Pi do I need to go and hook up over to LEDs to hook up to make sure that this happens inside a case and make it look really really good. So that way, I want now Electro Kitty to be a thing.
Yes. Yes. I need to know a robotics person. Do
a
I know
few.
one?
You know too.
Yeah.
It's so exciting. Oh my god.
So,
I've been
yeah.
studying for a long time.
Yeah, see, you've been studying more the animatronic side of it, and I just sort of have the general electronics know-how. So,
Yep.
yeah,
I know
and
both.
the interfacing, and the interfacing. So, yeah.
So let's make this a thing.
Don't tease me.
And we can make it even better for you. We can do it out of a modded Furby.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Wait, no,
Hold
I
on.
don't like
This went from
Furbies.
dream pet to nightmare fuel real quick.
Exactly.
Oh, we gotta show her the Furby piano afterwards.
Oh no, we don't need to show Charlie any Furby piano. That's okay.
Charlie, no like Furby?
This man loves Furbies, and I don't know why. Cause I don't
It's
care. They're
weird.
just or whatever.
I had a scary experience with a Furby.
That's why.
Same.
That's most people.
Right? I think it's more.
Sorry. Hates scary stuff. Loves Furbies. Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So, this is a quick story, so I'll say it real quick. But my mom, when I was younger, I was probably like 8. She got me this. It was Furby-esque. It wasn't actually on-brand Furby, I don't think.
Mhm.
But it was this big blue creature, and she was called like Mama something.
Yeah.
And she'd talk all the time, like all the time. Like even when you turned her off, she would talk. She'd just like, haha. And it's like, nope, I don't like it. I want it gone now. And so we put it in the basement, and we were done with it. And then our basement was unfinished. It was already spooky anyway.
Yeah.
But we were down there looking for another toy like months later, and it goes off. And I grew up with brothers, and so the brothers were like, destroy the toy. The toy is dead now. So they like did what young boys would do. They like just absolutely dismantled it. And it turns out it was called Mama something because it had a pouch that sprung open, and it had an egg that had a baby one. And I think we were all so scared for a very long time because it was like they had just been hitting it, and like it's breaking, and all of a sudden it was like pop, and a little egg was there, and it was like Alien was like running through all of our heads, like, oh my god, there's more of them. It just had a baby.
We abused it and it multiplied. No.
And so like we opened it, and it was just a little tiny one, and it was just like and we're like, no, make them go away.
See, my love basically comes.
See if I can
from-
find what it is online.
Yeah, it's like it comes from a mix of I don't like creepy things, but I think that's one of the only like creepy-esque things that I actually kind of enjoy, like 'cause it's supposed to be cute and all that, and I like gremlins and things like that.
Yeah.
But it also comes from when I was younger. I used to do a lot more voice acting for kids stuff, and I haven't actually told this story in a long time. One of the sound engineers, he had a Furby, and he had basically learned to kind of like reprogram it and whatnot. So all of a sudden I remember doing line reads, and I was supposed to be a demented kid for a show, and since my voice was already kind of cracking, my regular voice is deep. It's really, so like the entire time I would be doing a performance and I'd be talking like this. And then all of a sudden I'd be a kid again, and then I'd go back down and whatnot. And it's the fact that he would take these little clips during my actual performances and whatnot, and then it's like he'd actually upload them into the actual Furby, and he would have it sitting over there. So like as new people would walk into the studio and whatnot, he also made it motion tracking, so they would walk past and be like, "You need to play with me."
Oh.
And they would be like, "And what is wrong with that?" Like, I love that Furby.
That sounds like something I would do.
I love that Furby. So like it's very personal, but I remember him giving it to me, and my mom, she heard it one time. She was like, "Get it out of my house." Get it out.
No demons in this household. I found it. It's called a Wovloves. And it says it's mommy and baby talk to each other. A wee surprise inside. Mommy has a magical surprise. Like, what the hell?
That
What?
looks sick, and I need it.
Dude, I'm
Oh my
telling you.
god.
It's not
And
okay.
people think Furbies look scary.
I know. I did not like it.
Oh my
That's
god!
fair.
Yes. So now I need to go and get one of those. Brandon has Max. I'm gonna have Love. Mine's going to be equal amounts horrific.
Oh my gosh.
With a little child that speaks to it.
Right? Yeah. It's going to be an experience. I totally just realized I have not done the ad read.
They are the spawn of hell.
Oh, right.
So it's like
Yeah, I was about to say.
yeah, it's like it's a thing. So yeah, we can go on with one more story, and then I need to do an ad read. Okay. I know. So now all I can think of is the Love. Okay. Quick thing. Have there been toys that you all have had like growing up that you all love and everyone else thinks is one of the most like horrendous things ever? Because I also have another story.
I mean, I grew up with guns and dirt bikes and four-wheelers. That was about it. That was most of my time. That and video games.
I feel like most toys that I had growing up were like pretty universally liked. I had like Jake the Snake and Roboraptor and G.I. Joes. So I don't think anyone was afraid of those.
Mhm.
Roboraptor was sick. I loved that toy.
I mean, I'm trying to think.
And Pokemon stuff, of
Yeah,
course.
I had a lot of Pokemon stuff.
Mine was Yu-Gi-Oh as a kid.
Yeah.
I mean, I played a lot of Pokemon games. When it came to card games, Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, I played a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh cards too. I wasn't very good at Pokemon TCG growing up because I didn't
Yeah.
understand it
Yeah,
really
it
well.
was different with the elements and everything. It was a
Mhm.
lot harder for kids to understand.
So I did the same thing. Played a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh, but I loved both. Like there was so many people growing up. There was like,
Yep.
oh, you like Pokemon? Well, I like Digimon. I was like, I like all of it's good.
Yeah.
Like I don't know why anyone would want to choose between Digimon and Pokemon. Like they're both little creatures that turn into really cool creatures that are your best friend. Like what's not to like about both?
It was funny because I just watched a death battle between Pokemon and Digimon.
Mhm.
And it's crazy because I never realized. I only watched a little bit of Digimon and only knew a little bit as a kid. But Digimon gets crazy strong as they keep going up.
Yeah.
Whereas with Pokemon, it's only a little bit. So, like,
They get like guns
yeah.
and missiles too.
'Cause
Like
they showed, like, it
like
was
mass
Charizard.
destruction.
Yeah, they showed, like, Charizard with the Mega Evolution at its strongest. Just very strong. I mean, easily can melt through metals and stuff.
Mhm.
But then you've got, I forget the main character.
Agumon probably. Greymon.
when he's
War
got-
Greymon.
Yeah, when he's got his War Greymon.
Mhm.
He is literally ridiculously strong and is made to kill dragons.
Yes,
So, like,
literally.
I didn't realize he was that strong. This is ridiculous. What is Digimon?
And like Pokemon, you've got like your 4 moves that they can all learn. That's
Yeah.
like their base. And they
Unless
can
it's
learn
the show.
others. Yeah, unless it's the show and then nothing makes sense and Charizard knows tackle and you're like, Ash, what? Why?
I mean, I guess a giant dragon could tackle pretty easily.
I was like, I don't think it's incapable, but he's got like a lot of moves, Ash. Why are we filling up that slot with tackle? We're confused.
Let's also not hold it against Ash as far as he was not the best trainer by far.
He's
Most of his badges came from like not actually battling, but just sort of being slightly helpful.
He's always the savior of stuff.
Ish.
Bad things happen. I mean, who is his greatest enemy throughout the entire show? Generally, their greatest enemy.
Team Rocket.
Yeah, Team Rocket, blasting off again every time. Let's be honest.
But they're also
They're a
not like
couple
the
of-
best criminals by any
no.
means.
But that was like their main enemy, the easiest people to defeat.
Yeah, I think like the biggest thing I had as like a toy that I absolutely loved and like nobody understood what it was Beast Wars, because like people saw that there was Transformers, but I had Cheetor and he could transform into a cheetah and people were like,
I
what's
loved
that?
those.
Like no, it's supposed to be like a car or something, and I'm like, no,
I have no idea what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
they're like
so-
they were human figurines that then you would like push them down and they'd be like an animal. And so it's
Yeah.
like they looked like people on the outside like wearing something and then you
Yep.
just fold their arms down. They were like a little I loved those. I
Yeah,
forgot
and
all
I
about
used
those.
to be obsessed with that show. Like
Yes.
I'd come home, like turn it right on, unless it was like Dragon Ball Z. Like those two would kind of like compete for me for like my attention as a kid. So I'd actually record before DVR.
Right.
I'd have one TV on Dragon Ball Z and I'd have a VCR on it recording it so I could watch that later, and then I'd be watching Beast Wars. So,
I was a lame kid. I just watched a lot of informational stuff all the time. I was like either outside playing or I was watching informational stuff. And then when I got older, I was like, anime, cartoon, like what is all this? I need to catch up on it.
I feel
Well,
sad for
I
you.
think
Well-
Dexter's Lab was the only thing that I really watched as a kid. I love the hell out of that.
I will actually say I kind of know where you're coming from, because as soon as we got our cable bill paid for,
Yep.
it would turn on and be on for maybe a week, and then it'd get cut right back off because we're like 2 months behind on it.
Yeah.
So we would binge watch as much as we could. We didn't even see the sunlight. It was
Yeah.
it was
That's most.
really bad. Like we would binge on whatever we had, but then after that we ended up getting this 10-foot by 6-foot satellite dish in our backyard. And at first when I saw my stepdad putting up the pole in the cement, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm getting a basketball hoop finally. But our driveway is like that going down, so it wasn't like feasible, but still I'm like a 10-year-old kid. I'm all excited because I played a lot. And then when we got this giant satellite dish so we could get free cable, we ended up having to push these two different buttons, the east or west, and it was
Weast.
My brain farted for a second. Like, is west an actual direction?
Yeah, it's west east. It's just also known as north or south.
so
That was great. Thank you.
so we'd actually have it to where we got like free different time zones of TV channels, but we only got like 10 different TV channels. But we got like 3 different Fox channels. We had the Pacific, Mountain, and like Eastern.
Yeah.
But we had it on sticky notes where you had to push the east or west button so long from each different station. Sometimes you had to hold it like for 10 minutes to reset it to a certain spot, because you just don't know where you're at, and you just hold it until it comes into focus. And it just comes up on screen, and that's how we were able to watch it.
With your satellite dish, you said it was like 10 feet by 5 feet. Like, are we talking?
Oh, it was massive.
Yeah.
It was
Like
massive.
big dish.
It was cemented into the ground,
Yeah.
10 feet high and 6 feet wide.
Yeah. Okay. So we had the exact same thing. Where over on the side of our house, when I remember my dad, he came in like, I bought a satellite dish, and I remember seeing like my other friends that had like the small versions. I'm
Yeah,
like,
on top
okay,
of their
cool.
house.
Yeah, it's like we're gonna go and have that. Then I remember going to school, coming home, and he's sitting there like excavating this gigantic pit over on the side of our house. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm getting it ready. I'm just like, getting what ready? It's like, you'll see. You'll see.
We're gonna have so much
We're gonna have
TV.
so much. And all of a sudden, went back. Then it's like went to school the next day, came back, and I'm not joking when I tell people that the pole went up 15 feet. The actual like dish part of it covered half of our house. Like it was the cartoonish size of like so big. Like I'm not joking. The entire like the satellite dish would not fit in this room.
Oh
And I
my
remember
God.
sitting there like, Dad, are we talking to aliens?
You're like, did we join the military or something?
See, and that's the thing where it's like my father. He did.
Oh, yeah,
he
that's
did
right.
cryptolinguistics for the Air Force and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I remember coming home and going like, Dad, why is the dish that big? And he just remembers smiling at me, just like, because we are not missing any TV. And I remember him like turning it on for the first time, like, Dad, who's our provider? And him going, we have every channel. Like, oh yeah, every channel? Like, no, every channel. Going down the guide was like, you have 240,000 channels. And like,
Holy crap.
no joke, we would watch. It's like one of the reasons why I love anime so much is because we would actually watch stuff airing in Japan. So like now we've got
Wow.
simulcast and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Just
that was
have to one up me.
that was the thing in my household. I'd be like, I'm gonna stay up till 2 o'clock in the morning just so I can watch the Japanese. It's like I can watch the Japanese episodes of Naruto when I'm 9 years old.
Is
Wow.
that how you learn Japanese? You're like 9, like,
No,
I need
you're
to
not
learn it
wrong.
now.
That's
You know
how I
what?
started
No,
learning.
yeah, that's actually
makes
how
sense.
I started learning Japanese was just through anime.
Yeah.
Like
I just watched the dubs.
following along with the songs mostly.
Yeah, it's like
I knew all the yelling words.
So true.
you watched a whole lot of Dragon Ball Z.
I watched a lot of
Yes.
Dragon Ball and I watched a lot of Ginga Densetsu Weed.
Oh my God! Yes.
Have you actually seen it? I know like one other human being on Earth that has seen that show. It's my favorite anime.
Like I said, I've seen a lot of anime, and a lot of stuff no one has seen.
That makes me so incredibly happy because it's my favorite anime ever. Like, I rewatch it all the time because it's so short.
Oh,
I love it.
See, we're gonna have something to talk about in a second.
Excellent.
So, there we go. So this episode of the Crack Brain Podcast is brought to you by Game Haven. Looking for a new tabletop game for your weekend party? How about leveling up your current Magic deck with a couple of booster packs from the Core Set 2020? Swing by your local Game Haven for cards, collectibles, and more. With 5 fantastic locations spread across Utah, Game Haven has been delivering knowledgeable and personal customer service for almost a decade. Founded by 3 gamers whose fantastic gaming experience, with a fantastic gaming experience, people with grammar.
Hey, Stefan.
I hate you. Stop in for a great chat with the friendly staff while finding the perfect game for you. And anyone that lives outside of Utah, Game Haven can ship anywhere in the U.S. because of their online store. You can find them at yourgamehaven.com or on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at yourgamehaven. Game Haven, your stop for the best gaming experience. We have one more. I'm at least glad that I got through that time. This episode is also brought to you by the Crack Brain Patreon page. So Patreon is a digital platform where you're able to go and help us out with all of our productions and be able to help us go and make things smooth. So a lot of our stuff has actually been funded through our Patreon page. So your efforts and your contributions do help us out in a big way. So we want to go and take a second to be able to thank our our glorious patrons. We want to thank Brandon Peck, Candace Chesley, George Alcocer, Ray Gill, Ryan Bielik, Stephanie Sooty Stork, Tyler Jacobson, Tyler Jones, and Whitney Gruber. Thank you all so much for your for your subscriptions over on Patreon. We are going to be doing a lot more for you guys. There's going to be some really cool rewards that show up probably September-ish. Yeah, right around September. So we're working on a couple things that we're going to start giving out to you guys. So if you're not signed up to the Crackbrain Patreon, swing by, check it out, and yeah.
Or at least keep your eye on it.
Yeah, definitely kind of
Yeah.
keep your eye onto it. So like right now we've got our $1 tier and our $5 tier. The $5 tier comes with a bunch of kind of like digital goodies, as well as the prints that are done by our fantastic artist Ray. So there's that, and we're going to be doing a lot more kind of like exclusive content that if you want early access to it, you'll have to go through Patreon and then all that. So yes, there we go. I did our sponsor reads. I finally got through them. It's always an experience for me.
Good job.
So there we go. But no, back over on the anime. So like my favorite anime is Hajime no Ippo. All right, it's a boxing anime. It came out like 1992 or something like that. And I remember watching that as it was airing, and I'm sitting there getting all hyped up and like, "Oh my god, guys, this week!" And everyone's like, "But Dragon Ball Z," and I'm like, "But Hajime no Ippo." It's just like I didn't understand the fact that like, oh yeah, you guys can only watch like Toonami.
Right. We had Tom.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, I'm on this new shit. There you go. So yeah, it's like I still consume a ridiculous amount of anime. Where like my waking up routine at 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
is
It's our morning.
Wow,
Everybody else's night.
I can't relate to that at all.
So we're all there with you, man.
It's honestly most people who's watching this routine. Let's be honest.
No joke.
You can't
no
have a
joke.
morning if you never sleep.
Why do you have to be so true?
It's a thing. It's a thing. So yeah, it's like I wind up now just watching everything like as soon as I wake up, and people like my family now knows like don't bug Daddy when he's watching his Japanese cartoons. I'm like, you're right. Oh my god.
So my mom actually had me believing that I was part Japanese when I was really little. So because she couldn't understand like why I wasn't like all the other girls in my family, like they're all into like just girly stuff, and I'm sitting here watching anime and playing video games, and she's like, I think you got like switched at birth. I really think you're like, well, my older sister used to joke that I was actually from the zoo or the milkman.
Oh no.
Or the mailman.
Yeah.
And she had me believing that I was like adopted or that I was switched at birth, and then even when my mom confirms it, she's like, yeah, I think you're like my Japanese child. And I'm like, Mom, I don't look Japanese. She's like, you don't have to. It's okay. It's on the inside.
It's funny you bring that up because I had that exact same kind of thing growing up. My mom's not the greatest person, but the running joke with me and my dad forever is I don't look like him. I don't act like him. I'm basically nothing like him, and over the years I've kind of started to, but the running joke is that my dad was always the milkman. And it was funny because we had an actual milkman. So growing up I was
You're like, hey, Dad.
we have bagged milk there. Thanks, Canada.
Oh my gosh, dude, that's so weird.
Yeah, it was weird seeing that growing up. I was like, because we moved from southern Maine to northern Maine where it's closer to Canada, and we went to the store and it's like, is that bagged milk? What is that? And that was like a normal thing. We got like this little container. You put the milk in it, and you just dispense it like you would, like, I'm trying to think of something comparable, like, the wine, like the box wine kind
Yeah.
of setup, same kind of thing, but with milk.
That is so interesting.
Yeah.
I never knew.
I remember bagged milk from school. And I remember when they first started doing that
Yep.
for us. You look at me like I'm... Did you never have bagged milk?
Hey,
in school?
I had
had the
milk
cartons.
fresh from the cow tit.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
same. Living on a farm.
I'm sorry, I never grew up. I never grew up going like, "Give me some of that milk." All right, like Southern California, not a lot of farms, especially on beach towns.
Yeah, well,
Just a cow pastured
we
out
had
on the beach.
Look, we had surfing and weed. All right, that's all we had.
well, we had weed and cows.
There we go.
Maine has weeds and cows.
Different weed. You don't. You
Yeah,
don't put in
different
these
kind of
ones.
I mean, you could smoke it, but it might be very good for you. But
Right.
Well, I mean, you gotta be so bored up there. There's
you
Actually-
have no idea.
actually, I will say, I think it was either Vermont or Maine that I went to a indoor skiving place. That was my
not Maine.
I did that. Oh, so it's probably
Yeah.
Vermont.
Yeah, Maine's boring.
Um,
Maine, basically, if you just take pine trees and some maple trees, make that the entire state, and then add like one little hill compared to the mountains out here, and then other than that, like there's rivers and marshes everywhere. You have a beach. It's a rocky beach though, so it's a little bit different. I mean, there's sand and everything, but you've got like cliffs and stuff. It's actually a really beautiful state when you're not being eaten alive by mosquitoes,
Oh.
dying from the humidity, or being killed by the snow. Because there are times where I'll be heading to school, try to open the door in the morning, and the snow's up to here. So I'm literally bringing a shovel to school.
Oh.
And the worst
Uh-uh.
part was, they only closed school in Maine if you literally cannot drive because the snow is that high,
Yeah.
and it's up to the principal's discretion for each school.
Yeah.
And
It's the same here.
Every single principal brings a goddamn shovel and a bag of salt.
They're like, this
There's
school
school
will
every
not
day.
close on my watch. And they're
I
just out there
I remember
shoveling.
when I lived in northern Maine, there was only one time they'd ever closed the school down, and there was literally 7 feet of snow that had come in one night over the 3 feet of snow that we already had.
Oh my god.
So we're talking 10 feet of snow. I didn't.
Snowboard to school.
No, literally, people would snowmobile to school all the time.
Hell yeah.
So I remember I didn't have that luxury because at the time we didn't have any four-wheelers or anything. So I'm carrying a shovel and digging my way out to school. I make it all the way there, and I find out school's closed. I had already walked like a half a mile through the snow and had to find out and
Oh,
turn back and go back.
Nope. I would have laid down.
That was the day that I got frostbite in all of my toes,
Oh,
and I no longer feel my toes.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I have no feeling in my
Are
toes.
you
really.
okay?
Right?
I'm good now.
Look.
I wasn't at the time.
Stormy just summarizes it's like the most perfect way. So you're saying there's a correlation between no fun and no otter pops?
I mean, yes.
You are correct.
We didn't have otter pops because there was literally frozen shit everywhere. We're like, fuck this pop.
They're like, why would we bag that?
Yeah. Maine is a state of coffee because we try to warm ourselves up. I remember, I think I was like 5 years old, going to church as a kid, and I'm just like drinking the coffee there because I'm like, it's so cold, I need something.
Oh my god.
That's probably why coffee doesn't affect me as well. That's probably the reason.
I'm gonna be honest though. When you said Vermont earlier, my brain was like, "Oh yeah, Vermont exists." Like I completely, like I forgot about that
Maine.
state
Everybody's
entirely.
like, that's a place I forgot about. It.
I just forgot entirely.
On a shirt. Yeah.
I'm gonna make it.
Please, I will sport that shirt right now. I literally just want big words. Oh yeah, Vermont exists. And I want to see people's reaction walking down the store, going like,
Because I have a viewer. He's a friend of mine now. He lives in Delaware, and every time he talks about Delaware, I'm like, Della who? Delaware? Are you from? What is that place?
there you go. See, I'm at least glad, like, hearing all of these things, it always makes me kind of reflect a little bit back on growing over in California, because I don't know what people's perception about California is, like
Hot.
especially when you
Hot.
say hot. It's not that hot.
I can't deal with the weather here.
You're not wrong. You bitch
feel
about
you.
it being.
Well, it's dry heat too here. Like it's dry heat and
Yep.
it's dry cold.
Well, the
And-
dry heat is a lot better. Like, I used to live in Florida.
Mhm.
Humid as all hell all the time, except for 2 weeks out of the year,
Oof.
where Florida likes to play winter, and it drops from 70 to 30 overnight.
Oh, weird.
It is the worst, and it's really funny. Like during the winter, the actual winter time, it like stays in the 70s, 80s, and it's like a drier heat.
Yeah.
But then once March hits, suddenly the humidity comes right back up, and
What?
it is just horrible. And
See,
it's
that's
really
May to
funny to
June.
see some of the Jamaicans like wearing like puffy parkas like
Really?
you would in New York when it hits like 65.
It's
It
so
is
funny.
so funny,
65 here is like worlds
Yeah,
different.
yeah.
See,
Well-
that's the crazy thing. Like 65 out here, I'm ready to strip, and just so I can not be dying of heat.
Yeah.
Like it'll be 30 degrees, and I'm like still in a tank top and shorts. Like it could get so much colder.
I never got used to the heat out there.
Mhm.
And then, especially because like I'm used to like really nicer weather than in
Yeah.
SoCal, but it snows in the winter sometimes, and I'm used to it just being cooler, and just even being here, it's just way too hot here.
Yeah, what was it? Yesterday, the day before is 103.
Yeah. I
It really
dying.
was?
Yeah.
I was
feel
dying
it.
Yeah,
the whole day.
I didn't
I
feel
was,
it.
I
Uh,
like the warmer.
My
I love heat.
Me too.
I love heat.
So this is a weird fun fact about myself. I have this rare form of eczema. It's a
Mhm.
big skin condition where it's called ichthyosis. So my skin cells, like, they do reverse osmosis. So
Mhm.
that means like
That's
if
not
water
good.
touches,
Yeah.
not great. If water touches my skin, like if I shower, go swimming,
Mhm.
then instead of your skin either absorbing the water or like staying the same, the water in my skin cells will just bloop, like, okay, goodbye. And so I have to gotta hydrate myself with lotion. But also a side effect of that is I don't have a lot of I don't have like really any sweat glands. Like I
Yeah.
have some on my face and like a couple like armpits, like where you'd expect them to be, but for the most part I can't sweat, so I just overheat. So like humidity to me is so different, because like humidity is like, oh, like there's moisture in
Yeah.
the air, like
Yeah.
it feels nice. But I know that everyone else, they're like, I'm sweating and I feel gross all the time, and I don't know what that feels like. So I forget all the time that people like hate humidity.
See,
Wow.
I love humidity. I miss it so much.
Oh gosh.
Because I can't breathe in the air out here. It's so
I
thin.
can't breathe when
Yeah.
it's humid.
See, it's the other way around, because like I know with the high elevation it makes it harder to breathe too.
Yeah.
But it's so dry that it's hard for me to breathe. I go back, like I went to Chicago a little while ago, and being out there was awesome because it was humid again. I was like, I can breathe for once.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I definitely want to eventually move somewhere that's like a little humid, maybe
Washington.
lower elevation.
That's where I want
Because like I've got asthma too. I'm just a medical just disaster, truthfully. So I'm like, I think I need to move somewhere else, because our air quality here is not great, especially in the winter. And then it's really dry, and I'm like, I would just really like
Yep.
a little
what
bit of
you're
humidity.
talking about is you basically need Huntington Beach, California.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, I do.
Specifically because like okay, so growing up about Huntington Beach, California, Southern California, seasons are a myth. All right? It's like, oh yeah, that snow, that no, we don't get any of that. Like you can see it over on Big Bear, way far in the distance, and go like, hey, I bet it's cold there. Like cold. And people will say it all the time, like, it's cold. Oh my God, it's a chilly kind of like 67 degrees. Oh my God.
I
Like
hate your state so much.
this is ridiculous, whatnot. But it's like every time it's like 80, 90 degrees every single day. Like what we would think out over here, like it's gonna rain, is over to California. It's like, no, clouds are just a little bit dark. It ain't gonna rain.
It's gonna rain.
65 is the hottest I can go. Anything below that, perfect. But if
Oh.
my house is under or over 65, I can't sleep because I'm sweating to
Oh,
death.
Oh,
I'm the same way.
no.
I keep my place at 68.
Yeah,
See,
I won't go any higher than that. I
that
cannot.
see again, that's why y'all would actually kind of love it, because it will be like it could be 101, and then all of a sudden that ocean breeze hits
Yeah.
you, and it cools you down immediately. You know, so it's like outside, you'll sit there like it's 101, and you'll kind of feel it, but that breeze will hit, and you're like, and ooh, this is nice.
See,
Hey.
one thing that you want to talk about cool breezes when it comes to that. Maine doesn't have a warm ocean. It is freezing cold. I
Oh.
mean, literally like 32 degrees.
So you're basically Canada.
Yeah. So being like even
Without
in
the free
summer-
healthcare.
Yeah.
Dang, I've
Well,
never been
they're
less
trying to
sold
work
on Maine.
something there. Nobody moved to Maine. Vacation. That's it. But like even during the summer, it's really refreshing. But the oceans are still like 30 to 40 degrees. It's freezing cold to get in them. So you're stepping your toes in it, and you're like, oh my god, no, I'm gonna stay on the beach. This is too much. But it's nice because it's still windy, so it'll be like 90 degrees during the summer with that high humidity, and you feel like you're dying. And then that cool ocean breeze comes in, and you're like, oh, this is so nice. And then you sunburn, you realize, wow, I made a mistake.
Right. No, okay. Call me X-Ray over in chat. Can we trade places to live? I'll gladly let you live in Chicago because the winter here is horrid. Look, X-Ray, y'all don't have winter. Okay, what y'all have is Antarctica with buildings.
So Maine without the building.
That ain't winter. That is space that we can breathe in. All right. I've been to Chicago. That's a level of cold I never want to visit again.
Yep.
Like, don't get me wrong. Your city is amazing, all right? I love the food. I love the culture. I love everything about it. No one should be there in the winter. Okay. So, yeah, it's like every place would like, look, winter here is good enough for me. It's like, get some snow, get a little bit of cool heat.
guys don't have a
Shut
winter
your
here.
goddamn face.
It doesn't get under 0 degrees.
Whoa, 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 that's not
why
true.
It's fantastic.
That's not true.
In the
If-
mountains, it does.
Yeah.
That doesn't count.
Jesus.
What doesn't that count?
In the populated areas, it
Do
doesn't get.
Yeah, but if you
you
go up in the
Work
mountains,
outside in that.
Yes,
Yes.
actually,
Yeah,
I
we
do.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
And I have
Yeah.
had to plenty of
Work
times
outside.
before.
Yeah.
You guys go inside a building.
I had
That
a.
has no doors, no windows, and just let the breeze come right in. And with the snow, with like snow, our dock fills up with snow, and we are literally drifting on snow on forklifts. So like, you barely have experienced.
I
it.
know.
Okay.
Like when that little like puddle that was over by the door, it was hard driving through that. I can only imagine the
Like,
snow.
our forklifts and whatnot, a little bit of water hits the dock. It seriously is almost like it's almost like an oil slick over in like Mario Racing and whatnot. You go through it, and you're just like, when snow hits it, you just don't stop. You just hit the spin, and it's just like, and shoo, 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 shoo,
So
shoo.
basically,
Oh,
you just
no.
you have to get ready to dive out before you hit the open door at the end.
You're on that dog all the time, just like, hey! You get it because someone like it's always a new guy that doesn't realize that brakes don't exist when you're just hydroplaning. So we've had 3 guys like go off the dock. We'll tell them like, hey, brake like 100 feet before you actually
Yeah.
get to your destination because you just don't stop, you know.
It was funny with all the rain that was happening today. There was when I was driving down here, there's a huge puddle of water, and I've lived in the weather forever. I know how to drive through that. I go through. My car drifts a little bit. I'm fine. I see this guy behind me completely fishdance out into the next
No.
lane. I'm like, dude, you gotta go slower through that. Hug the edge, something.
I'm so happy I have 4-wheel drive now. Like I used to have a little Toyota Corolla that would do the same thing. It was like, God, I hope I don't have to drive far today in the snow. I'd like get on the on-ramp and my car's like, and I'm like, I'm just gonna call in. I don't want to go to work now.
See,
I'm
I love
scared.
driving in the snow because I drift like a maniac whenever I can. I'm literally like, it'll be a goddamn snowstorm like we had like the few times last year, and I'm in my little Dodge Dart, and I'm fucking going around people at like 70 miles an hour, and they're all in the breakdown lane going 20. I'm like,
Exactly.
whoa.
Why
So
can't
much fun.
people just freaking move over.
Oh.
Let the people
No.
who can drive in snow go.
Oh,
Like-
I so agree.
I
So
don't
agree.
understand how people here don't know how to drive that have lived here
Exactly.
their entire lives and whatnot. Because I sit there like, okay, I'm from California. We don't know snow whatsoever.
You don't know what
But
Subarus are in
it's like,
California.
we really don't.
Subaru's
We've all
like
got
off-brand.
lifted trucks and go like, we get this because we got trucks and whatnot. Has that thing touched dirt? No. And we like I didn't know what four-wheel drive and what front-wheel drive was actually used for until I moved. Like legitimately didn't know what it was for until I moved here. It was just like never really a thing. Even with like the most that'll happen over with us and whatnot, we get some really bad torrential rain sometimes. So the freeways will literally just be a river. And it's just one of those where you get really used to just hydroplaning, which is actually kind of funny because, especially like driving over on the 405, everyone just winds up getting hive mind. So as soon as one person fishtails, we all start fishtailing. So you will see the entire freeway just go like, whoa, 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 whoa. But we're all still fine and whatnot. You just handle like a little bit of this way, a little bit of that way. And we're all still good. And it freaked my wife out so bad because she's like, oh my god, and we're like, trust me, we're all good.
Yeah.
You're not going to get in a wreck and whatnot. We only get in wrecks because other people don't know how to drive.
Yeah.
And then I move here, one person fishtails, and everyone goes like, oh my god!
Yeah.
You know?
Everybody has a panic attack when the smallest thing happened. When driving down here, literally there was an accident on the other side of the divided highway where it's the division that literally goes as tall as a semi, and people are slowing down because of it on the other
Oh,
side. I
yeah.
was like, it's nowhere near you.
Everyone
Keep
is
going.
like, they're like defensive drivers here, but it's to the extreme where they all like, they just want to be so safe the whole time. And
Yeah.
you're like, you are a danger to the road when you
Yeah.
don't go the speed
And
limit.
they
You
feel
realize this.
entitled, like they think that they're saving your life
Yeah.
by
Yeah.
going slow in
Like,
front of
I
you.
hate
so
that.
there was this car that didn't have their brake lights at all. They didn't even have like I don't know,
They were
maybe their
just
lights were
out.
just out.
Yeah.
I was on the freeway. It's like 6, so there's a lot of cars, but there's a pretty big space between me and this car. I'm going 75, and I'm like coming onto this car that is not going 75, and I'm like, oh my god. So like I had to like quickly like brake and like pull over into the side so I didn't hit him, and it's just this in the middle of the freeway. They're going like under 30 miles an hour, head straight down, like on their phone. It was like, I have to call the police. Like, you are a danger.
I gotta report people.
No, I
You're a
literally-
danger to people.
I had that happen when I was driving home from my work. I was on the 201, and there's a little curve when it goes into the when it turns to the freeway instead of a divided highway. And I see this guy in front of me, and he's kind of like swerving a little bit. I'm like, I'm gonna back up a little bit because I feel something bad's gonna happen. And he was obviously on his phone. I could see a little flash coming up. And all of a sudden, the turn comes, and he doesn't turn and dips right into that and crashes into the guardrail.
Oh my god.
And I like, are you kidding me? I call the cops. I'm like, hey, this guy was on his phone, just dipped into the guardrail over here. You might want to go check it out.
Yeah.
And I see the guy get out, and he's like, what the hell just happened? Like, I don't...
He's like, the turn came out of nowhere.
Right.
I'm like, get off your phone.
Yeah,
It's
see-
like almost if you were paying attention, you would have seen.
See, like Vipers in chat, earthquakes are a thing over in Cali. Look, okay, earthquakes you don't really have to worry about, especially while driving, because there's... Okay,
What about the one that just happened, like,
Look,
a couple weeks ago?
weird science time, okay, so with...
Weird science.
Yes. Okay, so with earthquakes, there's two different earthquake types, especially with their waves. There's S waves that go horizontally, so that's when the ground basically will start snaking like this. And then there's P waves, and P waves are what makes the ground literally go and do that. So buildings are meant to basically be able to handle both. Same thing over with the freeways. So while you're driving, sometimes during an earthquake, you'll be able to tell exactly what kind of earthquake you're getting by actually just watching the road, because you'll literally see the road kind of do this and whatnot. So S waves are actually kind of fine to do because it doesn't move the ground all that much
Yeah.
and whatnot, so usually you're fine. But freaking P waves. All right, P waves, you'll literally start like, you'll be like, okay, we're having an earthquake, and then you'll start seeing the ground just sort of start doing this, and that's when everyone just starts going like, and freaking out, because your car will literally just like start catching little bits of air and whatnot. So you'll be like, burp,
Yeah.
burp, burp, burp. You
Catch
know.
me living in California that lives on a fault line that is
Well,
due for
we-
an earthquake to separate
It's
it.
not that bad.
We
It's
also
not that
literally
bad.
live on a
Yellowstone,
huge
yeah.
fault
Yeah.
line.
Yellowstone is ready to blow.
Whoa,
It's been
whoa,
for
whoa.
years.
Whoa. Let's not talk about it. Let's go back to pretending that doesn't exist.
So, okay, you know, that's fine. You know, it's gonna cause earthquakes nonetheless. Whatever. It's gonna cause a lot of them. California is a danger zone. The danger zone. I'm not going there. Number 2.
Look, all right. The basically the worst things to look out for over in California is
dying.
Shut up. Okay.
They're not that frequent.
Well,
like
it's
most
not.
of the time,
It's not
you're
just
so
the
used to
earthquakes
it
you have to
that
worry
you're like,
about,
you
but-
look over at your cup of water and it's like starting
It's
to like
shake,
move, and you're
yeah.
like, oh, there's an earthquake.
See, I wouldn't even think that probably either. Like I would see that and just forget about earthquakes entirely, and I'm like, oh, poltergeist. Oh no. Oh God.
See, like, and earthquakes happen so much where it's like I am horrible with directions, but growing up in Southern California, like, I've been through so many earthquakes that I can literally feel tremors like at the bottom of my feet. So when there was an earthquake here a while ago,
Yeah.
like earlier this year, I'm sitting like, oh, earthquake, okay, that's fine. And all of a sudden, like, every report was like, oh my God, earthquakes. I'm like, yeah, I felt it. It's a thing, whatever, you know. But like even bad ones where everything is shaking and whatnot. You know, you learn over in school, like, hide underneath your table and all that kind of stuff. But when earthquake actually happened, I remember sitting down, I think it was 8th grade. We had a 6.8 earthquake, so stuff was literally falling off shelves and whatnot. We all barely even noticed it. Teacher's still up there teaching. We're all like, okay, fine. And then they come over the loudspeaker, like, a minute later, like, oh, yeah. So we had an earthquake.
Did you guys remember
Did
the
you guys
drill?
actually remember the drill? And all of us were like, oh yeah, we're supposed to do that. Because you just become attuned to, like, we're literally inside our seats bopping up and down. It's just like,
I don't like living
Whatever.
in a place where the earth is falling apart. So I'm gonna stay in a safe.
it's called
Earthquakes are literally the world falling apart. That's literally what they are.
See,
Literally.
and when you hear us talk about it, you're like, oh yeah, the ground shook a bit. you talk
I'm
to
not
a person
scared of
from
small
California, and
earthquakes. I'm fine with that. But California's earthquakes are not small.
it's small. Okay, we've had tsunamis that hit where you literally see the ocean back out. I've been surfing before, and all of a sudden going like sitting there, just sort of like laying back over my board and look up a little bit, and the shore is way out there, and it's just like,
Like,
oh, I'm in a tsunami. Alright, and you just sort of lay back, and all of a sudden the wave finally, like, oh, you kind of look up and you're like, this wave is big.
You're not making this
It
better.
just sort of sends you out, and like, the weirdest part is when, like, you start passing the sandbar, and you start going onto the road, and the water's still underneath you, and you're kind of going right with the car, and you're like, sup?
Doing what I do is think and making it sound worse.
It is so freaking awesome. Okay, I'll tell you right now, when the beach is just nothing but a lake, and you're sitting there like, this is awesome. I've been able to ride this wave for 5 minutes.
The water flushes into the city, and I'm stuck out there in the middle of nowhere. It's awesome.
Yeah. So that's what I mean. Okay, and to answer you, Venom. Yes. Okay. So 6.2. Yes, it is. That is big, but that's something where usually you can handle that. So like normally 3.2s, 3.5s are what people go and usually kind of feel over with California. So that's basically enough to like. This will shake a little bit, and it'll do that. 6.2, no, stuff would be rocking back and forth. But again, no one really freaks out. Again, with like P waves and whatnot, buildings are meant for it. So like when you hit like a 5. like a 5.5 and whatnot, you'll start seeing the ground do this. I've been in malls where everyone is literally just like, whatever, and just still just trucking along and whatnot. And then you can tell when someone's not from California because they start death gripping everything. It's like, the ground is shaking, the ground is moving, the ground's not supposed to act like a wave. And everyone from California like, it does this. You just sort of, it puts a little pep in your step. And you just go.
It makes me think of that. I watched all the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air growing up, and there's like one episode where Will's with his girlfriend, and they have an earthquake, and he's like, the ground moved. The one thing that's supposed to be stable, it moved. And they're like, Will, it's an earthquake. No!
That's exactly how I feel, and that's like what it's like talking to you.
I would be like, what the hell is going on right now? We're all gonna die.
See, I'm used to the ground shaking, but a little bit of white cold stuff falls from the sky, and I'm like, nothing is right with the world. It's not supposed to do that. Or goddamn tornadoes. All right, the skin is look. Okay, the skin. The wind is not supposed to throw a temper tantrum and start throwing shit around.
Wind does that, and I understand that the earth moves. I just don't want to live where the earth moves.
I'm really glad that where we live, like, because we live in our little bowl. I guess you're kind of under the bowl, but you still got mountains surrounding you down here. So it's like, we're not going to get any insane tornadoes. Like, I think the biggest tornado, like one of the only tornadoes Utah has ever gotten was that little one that was downtown. And it was like, everyone panicked over it, and it's like, guys,
It's not that.
That was like a glorified windstorm. Like
Yeah.
real tornadoes that are in like flat areas, I don't want to ever go there because I had a friend that lived in I think it was, what the hell is that state? It's like Wyoming. No, it's further down from Wyoming. Obviously, I'm not good with my states. I'm forgetting many exist.
You're American.
Kansas. I think it was Kansas. And
Many of our
she
states are like
said
Canada, we forget.
she said the sky will turn green. Like it'll turn green, and I was like, ugh, I would panic. Like that's the apocalypse to me.
Sky's not supposed to change colors other than like a few colors.
Yeah, green is not on the color palette of the
it's not on
sky.
Maine gets both the tornadoes and during some spots of the weather, since we're so north, we actually get the aurora borealis. So we can see that sometimes,
What?
which is really cool.
That's awesome.
But tornadoes happen semi-often in Maine. They're really small. They don't last long. They won't even pick you up. You'll just be really, really, like... You might get thrown a little bit, but that's about it.
What? Wait, what?
But,
do you mean?
Okay, but here's the
You
thing.
cannot say you
There-
get thrown a little bit by the sky.
It's like, you ever been in a really, really windy place and like you're kind of, like, thrown around a
Yeah.
little bit? I mean, like that.
That's...
It's not going to pick up anything and toss it 30 feet.
Weren't we just having a
but-
conversation about
let
like
me-
the ground shakes a bit and you're
Let me-
freaking out? And the wind picks you up and I'm losing my mind.
Let me
Right.
continue. Here's the thing with tornadoes in Maine, though. They're really small, and they're still visible. So you see them coming, and you're like, yeah, I just need to walk a little bit that way, and I'll be fine.
The ones that when I used to live in Oklahoma, the ones in
Yeah, those are nuts.
they were scary. My first time seeing one, it was my first month living there. I'm an unarmed security guard in like a Rubbermaid like guard shack.
Yep.
Oh no.
It was literally my first week on the job. They didn't tell me what to do
Oh,
in case of a tornado, and suddenly within like 2 hours of my shift, everybody's gone, and it's like the evening shift.
Yep.
And suddenly the sirens are going off. The sky is literally turning angry purple, and I did not know what to do. I
you're
was
like,
just,
God?
hiding in my little shack. And yeah, the winds did pick up a lot. Like it didn't throw my like little plastic. It was like maybe 6 feet tall and like
Yeah.
barely anything. I had like those little old TVs that I could just watch NASCAR on. That was like the extent of my entertainment in there, and it freaked me out because I did not know what was gonna happen. I literally did not know what to do.
See, I feel that same way my first year living in Japan, okay, because they didn't, like, I understood a little bit of what typhoon season was, but then all of a sudden going through my first one where it's like all of a sudden sirens start going off, I'm like, what is going on? And like, oh yeah, typhoon's coming. All right. So I'm like, what do I do? What do I do? Like, what would? No, just stay inside. Like, it's not gonna be that bad. As I'm sitting there seeing crap fly through, we're having like these torrential like rains and whatnot. The doggone like sea is having a hissy fit. And I'm sitting there like, what is going on? And they're like, nah, it's not that bad. And I'm like, have you seen outside? And whatnot. And they're like boarding up windows, and I'm like, what's that? And they're like, nah, it's just typhoon.
Precaution.
It's not that. I'm like, you know, so like, and then after a while, you get like a few summers of it, and you're like, oh yeah, it's freaking typhoon season. Okay.
When I lived here, this was like
You still live here.
Well, just saying, because you guys weren't here, so I'm not sure if you would have remembered this.
Like when I lived here and none of you.
Yeah, when none of you were here. Well, I don't know. I don't know if you were born and raised here or not.
No.
Yeah. So I was probably like 10, maybe like 8 years old, and we had a flash flood here, and we've gotten a couple flash floods, but this one was terrible. And we live in Utah, so it's like a big drought state. So we never like when it rains, it's not forever. But this flood was horrible. And I lived at the time, our house was right on top of like this golf course.
Yeah.
So it was kind of attached to it. We had like a little cliff that went into the golf course, and the golf course was flooded. It looked like a lake, like in our backyard. Like the little golf, like the putting things were like floating away, and it was so horrifying because we'd never had it, and we haven't really had that bad of one since. But that was terrifying. Just to live in some place that never gets rain, and then all of a sudden it's like, it's it's flooding.
It gets all the rain, and it's not built for it, so then all of a sudden that rain is like, I'm
we
gonna
live in a bowl, because Utah, if you're not from Salt Lake, all of our mountains surround us, and our valley is a little bowl. So if that bowl fills up with water, it doesn't got anywhere to go. So it's just sitting there. It's very, very scary.
Yeah. See,
Yeah.
I'm used to flash floods, like while dirt biking and stuff like that, like in the middle of.
Now who's flexing? I've just been surfing and I've been dirt biking and I've just done so much stuff.
We want to start talking about the Olympics. All right, on the table. But no, like it's like seeing
He's
water.
just gonna one up every story.
I hear you there.
I was trying to.
Again, am I allowed to say anything because you're my boss?
F it, I ain't saying nothing anymore. I'm saying no more stories. Y'all can suck a dick sideways.
Isn't that how?
Shut up,
Yeah. No.
God damn.
Okay, so you were dirt biking.
I'm too self-conscious. You have yourself.
No, but I hear you with the flash floods and dirt biking. Yeah, those suck.
It's like just dirt bike, and all of a sudden water's traveling faster than you are. Just going,
God.
No.
I remember doing the same thing because like we'd have the hills in Maine we'd go dirt biking on, and it'd start raining, and since everything's a swamp in Maine, it just like starts flooding up, and the dirt just mixes so easily with it. I remember having to go through puddles this tall where my dirt bike's like chugging trying to get air going through. I'm like, oh god damn, I'm gonna get stuck.
Oh no.
And the worst part is if you get stuck, you're stuck. You have to push your whatever you're riding all the way back.
Oh, it's like
Yeah.
like walking your bike.
Yeah, but it's also like it's also a very, very heavy bike.
Yeah.
Take like 10 bikes, put them together, strap an engine onto that.
You simplify everything just to make someone else feel bad.
She's like, what do you mean? It's nothing. It's just like pushing a bike down the road.
Oh, wow, you had to push your bike through some water? Okay.
She's like, it's just a little puddle. You'll be fine. Just a little splash. You're good.
My day. That would have been uphills both ways.
Through the non-existent snow.
It's a flood and it's snowing. It's just slush everywhere.
But not Otter Pops. Feels bad, man.
I hate you all.
Yes.
Oh man, well,
I'm
like
so glad.
we're pretty much coming up over on time and whatnot, so I definitely want to say like thank you so much for joining us over this episode. I want to get you back over here as soon as possible.
Yes, it's awesome.
It's like, yeah, so the flexing can happen again.
I had so much fun. I'm really happy that you invited me. It was a blast for sure.
Yes. What are you doing next week? Yeah. There we go. So, like, for anyone that is not part of your normal chat and whatnot, how can people go and find you and see your streams and whatnot?
You can find me. I'm Charleemanderz. It's CharleeManderz. It's long. I'm sorry. It's just Charmander but Lee with a Z at the end. But that is my name for literally everything: Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, YouTube. I stream mainly on Twitch, and I'm working on my YouTube. It's very small, but that is where you can
Feels.
find me.
Feels. So yeah, it's something where I've kind of lurked over on your streams every now and then. I'm like, yes. That's like you're very excitable. It's like if you liked what you saw over here, watch that stream.
Yeah,
A
she's
lot more
really
fun.
adorable.
Aw.
It's really funny. I just started like.
My heart. Thank you.
Well, I think I only like met you on like Twitter.
I think so.
Yeah, so it was Twitter, and that's actually when he said that you were coming over, and he's like, "Hey, do you want to be on this stream with her?" I was like, "Hell yeah!" Like, that's really cool. Like, I don't know how it like Twitter's doing like this weird thing where it's not showing like everybody's stuff, but it'll just like randomly be like, "Hey, somebody liked this."
Right, it's
You
like
might-
so and so follows this person.
So I was like, "Oh, dude, that's awesome! Like your cosplay," and I was. Yeah, that was really cool, and so I thought I'd check out your Twitch when you were streaming last time, but then for some reason Twitch like froze on my phone,
Twitch.
so
It's your last straw, Twitch. You saw what Mixer's doing. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
We are.
We're still twitching. Don't.
still twitching.
yeah. So if you found her like really awesome on this stream, definitely check out her channel. It's really. It's entertaining.
I will take that all the way
I'm
home.
gonna have to
Thank
watch
you.
because now I'm interested.
I
It really is.
appreciate it. Thank you so much,
There we go.
guys.
So yeah, like I said, we'll definitely go and have you back on, and then we will be back next Saturday. I'm trying to make sure that we're definitely going to be back next Saturday. Okay,
We
yes,
should be.
we're definitely going to be coming back next Saturday. There's one Saturday in this month that we probably won't be doing that. We'll probably record
Yeah.
beforehand because photo shoots are a thing. So yeah.
True.
Yeah, are we still doing that train thing? The public train, public
We
run
will.
day.
More information coming soon.
Ooh.
Okay.
Information coming soon.
Tell me
So.
about this
Photo
subject.
shoots.
Yeah, it's 17.
Yeah, it's a thing. So again, go and swing back over here for next Saturday, 6 p.m., and you can go and catch the same craziness. So until next time,
Standard time.
people, we will talk to y'all later.
Bye.
There we go. And then now
Everybody
comes the-
point during the
Shut
awkwardness.
up! This is the part where I don't have a button where I can easily go and end it. So
We just have to keep waving forever.
I hate you all. I so hate you all.
I spilled my coffee twice. Gosh dang it.
You spilled on